Every generation has its whispers. The Greeks had their mystery schools. The Egyptians had their temples. The medieval world had their alchemists and masons. And today, we have YouTube rabbit holes at 2 a.m., filled with conspiracies, symbols, and promises of hidden truth. We've always been hungry for the secret. But here's the paradox: the secret was never really hidden. It was written in stone, painted in temples, encoded in myths, whispered in symbols. The real challenge was never access, it was perception. What the ancients called initiation was not about entering a building or joining an order. It was about entering a state of consciousness. About seeing the same world everyone else sees, but through different eyes. This book is not about conspiracy. It's not about elitist clubs or secret handshakes. It's about something far more radical, opening the vault of timeless principles that have always been available to those willing to look deeper. Because the truth is simple. You don't need to become a 33rd degree anything. You are the temple. You are the initiate. And when you live from this awareness, life itself becomes the initiation. Welcome to the path. Introduction: The whisper of hidden knowledge. Humanity's timeless hunger for secrets, from temples, to mystery schools, to late-night internet rabbit holes. The hush of night often stirs a different kind of curiosity within us. When the sun sets, the world takes on a new character. This is when secrets seem to linger in the shadows, beckoning us closer. Imagine a young child, awake past bedtime, drawn to the twinkling stars outside the window. Each light carries a mystery, just like those ancient stories whispered around campfires. The child's eyes sparkle not just with wonder, but with the age-old quest for understanding. Much like that child, humanity shares an eternal yearning to uncover hidden truths, whether through tales of gods in temples or through the sprawling passages of the internet's darkest corners. As the child leans closer to the window, the allure of the unknown captures their heart. This exploration encapsulates humanity's profound need to seek out answers, to glean wisdom from the concealed layers of existence. Our nighttime curiosities push us towards the threshold of understanding, where we find just enough light to guide us, yet enough shadow to inspire the imagination. This combination of fear and fascination is a companion on many journeys where knowledge is sought, be it through books, conversations, or solitary introspection. The illusion: knowledge was never really hidden, only veiled in symbols. Long ago, in a quiet village, a traveler came upon an ancient door carved with strange symbols. These symbols weren't random, they looked like keys. Curiosity pulled the traveler closer. At first glance, the door seemed locked by secrets no one dared share. But as the traveler touched each symbol with intention, a pattern emerged. They didn't hide knowledge, they guided the touch toward understanding. It wasn't a door of exclusion, but an invitation to see beyond the surface. The symbols were less about keeping people out and more like a code that sparked a change in awareness. This ancient puzzle wasn't about hiding but about awakening, coaxing whoever approached to step into a new way of perceiving. When we think of knowledge as hidden or secret, it often feels like we're trying to find something lost or buried in darkness. Yet many times, what looks like concealment is actually a deliberate veiling, an intricate language of symbols designed to speak on many levels. These symbols, whether they're glyphs on temple walls, gestures in forgotten rituals, or icons etched in old manuscripts, are not locks but maps. They offer guidance not just to facts but to experience, urging anyone willing to interpret them deeply, beyond surface reading. Their aim is to lead sincere seekers inward, to discoveries that don't simply fill the mind but transform how the mind perceives itself and the world. This was a method of ancient teachers to protect knowledge from being misunderstood or trivialized by casual glances, while still ensuring it remained accessible for those ready to engage honestly and attentively. Consider how modern life constantly bombards us with images, signs, and symbols, like the icons flashing on a screen or the quiet signals in a crowded street. We swipe or walk by them most of the time without noticing their layered meanings. Ancient symbols function similarly but with a richer depth. Each stroke and shape holds a vibration that resonates with different parts of our being. Recognizing these symbols calls for more than seeing. It calls for sensing, feeling, and listening in. This isn't about secret clubs or closed-off wisdom. Instead, it's about unlocking new eyes, awakening the parts of ourselves that understand language beyond words. When approached this way, The so-called hidden knowledge is more like a conversation waiting to happen, a timeless dialogue between the symbol and the seeker. To connect with these symbols in daily life, try pausing when you encounter an unfamiliar sign or pattern, a logo, an emblem, or even an architectural detail. Rather than rushing past, take a moment to consider what it might be inviting you to think about or feel. Ask yourself what personal meaning it could hold and whether it stirs a memory, intuition, or question within. This simple act shifts you from passive observer to active interpreter, bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and your present experience. Symbols don't demand that you decode them fully on the spot. Their power is in sparking curiosity and inner reflection that unfolds over time. The key lies in openness and patience, allowing the symbols to reveal their lessons when you are ready to understand them more deeply. This book reveals timeless principles once reserved for initiates, but now open to any seeker willing to look deeper. Imagine stepping into a quiet, dimly lit room where an old scroll lies gently unfurled on a wooden table. As you lean closer, you notice symbols and words that seem to glow faintly in the dim light. It feels as if the scroll contains secrets carefully preserved across ages, waiting patiently for someone willing to look beyond the surface. This moment mirrors a universal truth. Within each of us lies a deep well of knowledge, silent but accessible, waiting for recognition. The promise of this book is to guide you toward that hidden understanding, the keys to unlock truths that once belonged only to initiates, now open to anyone willing to seek with an open heart. It's as if a door is gradually creaking open now, revealing a path you've always carried within but never fully glimpsed. This promise isn't just a claim, it's an invitation. It beckons everyone, no matter where you come from or what you believe, to look beneath the noise and surface appearances. For centuries, certain truths were guarded by guardians, cloaked in mystery and sealed behind complex rituals. These teachings were meant to be revealed only to those deemed ready, designed to filter out distraction and surface-level curiosity. But today, that barrier has begun to dissolve. What was once held as a secret for a select few is now laid bare, accessible through simple acts of insight and curiosity. The book you're holding is a bridge, connecting ancient wisdom with the questions and struggles of everyday life. It promises that, with sincere effort, you can begin to access timeless principles that foster clarity, strength, and inner peace. These truths don't require special credentials or rites to be understood. They only ask for a willingness to look deeper, to see a little beyond the noise that fills modern life. The core idea is simple. The wisdom once reserved for chosen initiates is meant for everyone. It's a promise that every seeker, regardless of background, can find their own way into these truths. Imagine the ancient teachings as a series of secret doors, each leading to a different chamber of understanding. As a modern seeker, your task isn't to become an expert in those old rituals but to recognize the principle behind them. These principles are like keys. They open doors within yourself that have always been there but remain hidden when avoided or overlooked. The words on this scroll, the symbols, the stories, these are just pointers. The real secret is waking up to the realization that the same wisdom guiding sages and mystics is echoing in your own life, waiting for your recognition. The promise then becomes a simple yet profound truth. What was once hidden out of reach is now yours to claim, simply because you're willing to look beyond the surface and trust your innate capacity for understanding. 1. The Law of Vibration. Everything moves, nothing rests. Picture a tranquil pond. At first glance, it seems perfectly still, but look closer, and you may spot ripples moving ever so slightly across the surface. This image captures the essence of our universe. Even when things appear calm, there's a buzz of activity just beneath. Every atom is dancing, every star is in motion, and everything is part of an intricate web of energy. This unending movement isn't confined to the grand scale of galaxies. It takes place in our everyday lives as well. Consider the rhythm of a bustling city where the people and traffic flow like a never-ending stream. Energy is always shifting, adapting, and evolving, echoing the profound truth that nothing truly rests. This constant state of flux touches everything, from the cycle of seasons that paint the landscape in vibrant hues to the biological processes within our bodies. The very air we breathe is filled with particles in motion, constantly interacting with one another. Think of a conversation with a friend where ideas bounce back and forth like a game of catch. Each thought, each response creates a ripple effect, changing the tone and direction of the discussion. Similarly, in the universe at large, every action sends out waves, altering energies and realities, intertwining our experiences in the grand design of existence. The law of vibration suggests that everything has a frequency, vibrating like the strings of a musical instrument. When we grasp this principle, we can become more attuned to the energies around us and within us. Our thoughts and emotions are not just abstract ideas, they can be felt as real vibrations that affect our lives. For instance, think about a time you walked into a room and instantly sensed the mood. Maybe it felt heavy with tension, or perhaps it sparkled with joy. What you picked up on were these vibrations resonating with your own. Why energy is the true language of reality. Imagine a vast, silent lake at dawn. Its still surface reflects the sky above, but beneath this mirror-like calm, unseen currents weave and flow, shaping every ripple and wave. This hidden movement is much like energy, the subtle current beneath the solid world we see, quietly carrying truths in vibrations that often go unnoticed. Just as the lake's surface hints at the life beneath, the universe's energy pulses continuously, carrying a secret message few are tuned to hear. It whispers in frequencies that hold the essence of everything we experience, from the smallest atom to the grandest star. Everything around us, from our thoughts and emotions to the spinning galaxies overhead, resonates with a certain frequency. This vibration is a kind of silent language, communicating patterns that shape the very fabric of existence. When you realize that the visible world is merely the surface, and energy the depth, it becomes clear that understanding these vibrations isn't just about science or philosophy, it's a key to seeing the world as it truly is. In this dance of frequencies, you start to grasp that by tuning into the right vibration, one can influence reality, bend it toward new possibilities, and open doors to deeper awareness and control over one's own life. This perspective shifts how we view everything. What seems solid and fixed becomes fluid and alive, a chorus of energy waves interacting, interfering, and harmonizing. The quiet energy beneath the noise reveals a structure where matter is a temporary form, a momentary gathering of vibrating energy. Even our thoughts can be seen as subtle pulses, waves reaching out into the world, shaping outcomes and attracting experiences, much like ripples radiating from a stone dropped into water. The more mindful you become of these vibrations, the more the world unfolds not as separate parts, but as a unified flow of energy, communicating its secrets if only you listen closely. Consider the world around you, the pulse of a city, the steady rhythm of your heartbeat, the flicker of a digital screen, the warmth of sunlight falling onto your skin. Each is a wave of energy moving through space and time. Recognizing this, you begin to understand that you are not just a passive observer but an active participant in this energetic conversation. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions send out frequencies that echo back in kind, shaping what you live and experience. By learning to recognize and shift your own energy pattern, you align more with the currents that bring harmony, growth, and even healing. One way to feel this connection is to pause and simply notice your breathing or the sensations inside your body. These are openings to a deeper rhythm within and around you. When your awareness widens to include this subtle dance, the mysteries of existence seem less like distant puzzles and more like a language you can come to understand with practice. This is the true invitation of energy as reality's language, to listen, to feel, and gradually speak back through intention and presence. Try sitting quietly for a moment each day, focusing on the energy inside you, and observe how your experience shifts when you tune into those faint vibrations. This quiet practice is a door, granting access to the currents beneath the surface of everyday life, leading to a richer perception of both yourself and the universe. Exercise. Sensing your personal vibration. Imagine walking through a busy city street. Cars honk, footsteps rush past, distant sirens echo between tall buildings. You notice how your mood shifts. The noise makes you feel restless or distracted. Perhaps, with a moment's attention, you become aware of the subtle changes in your own energy. Your chest feels lighter or heavier, your breathing quickens or slows. This experience isn't merely about external sounds. It's about how those sounds influence your internal state, like invisible waves touching your inner landscape. Our environment is full of vibrations, energies that we often absorb without realizing, and tuning into them can give us a quiet sense of power over how we feel and react. To truly sense your own vibration, a simple approach is to take moments of quietness, even in busy settings. Close your eyes for a few breaths, and notice what registers first: the warmth of your hands, the rhythm of your heartbeat, or the sensation of air moving into your lungs. As your awareness deepens, start recognizing tiny shifts in your energy. Maybe your shoulders relax when you focus on calming your breath, or your stomach feels tight when worries creep in. These small observations form a map of your inner state. When you learn to recognize these signals routinely, you begin to see how your feelings and thoughts are tied to your energetic rhythm, giving you a quiet mastery to steer your mood intentionally. Practicing this sensing can be simple yet profound. Find a safe moment where you won't be disturbed. First, notice your body, where you feel tension or ease. Next, listen inward to your breath. Is it shallow or deep? Feel the subtle vibrations in your chest or belly. Then, pay attention to your emotions. Are they calm, excited, anxious? Notice how your energy fluctuates with different thoughts or external influences. With time, you might discover specific cues that signal your inner balance slipping or stabilizing. Over days or weeks, these small awareness exercises can become a natural part of your routine, turning your attention inward into a gentle, trusted guide for understanding your inner vibrations. This awareness unlocks a quiet sense of control, like tuning an instrument until it's perfectly in harmony with your own rhythm. 2. The Dance of Duality. Light-dark, masculine-feminine, creation-destruction. In ancient times, the sun rose, casting a soft glow over the earth, while shadows danced playfully in its light. This delicate balance of light and dark has always existed as two sides of the same coin, interdependent and necessary for one another. Without the sun's brightness, shadows would become oppressive and heavy, lacking definition. Reflecting on this, we realize that light often defines dark, just as dark helps to appreciate the warmth of light. The interplay of these two forces is evident all around us. Think of night and day, joy and sorrow, or even laughter and tears. Each moment of light is enriched by the contrast of darkness, making our experiences fuller and deeper. This duality extends into our lives in more profound ways. Faced with challenges, many discover that adversity can shape their strength and character. Just as a shadow reveals contours and depth in a landscape, our struggles help us understand our own potential and resilience. There's a powerful lesson in this. Embracing the dark moments allows us to appreciate the light even more. Asking ourselves how we can transform our shadows into a source of strength opens a pathway to growth and enlightenment. The dance of masculine and feminine energies is an age-old story. Picture a roaring fire, vibrant and alive, signifying the masculine's active, driving force. Now imagine the soft, nurturing earth surrounding it, representing the feminine's embrace and support. Both elements coalesce to create life and inspire transformation, serving as guides in the journey of existence. Together, these energies illuminate paths of creation and destruction, revealing their intricate connection in the cycles of nature. Consider how storms might destroy to make room for new growth, or how creative ideas may emerge from periods of stillness and reflection. The teachings of the masculine and feminine extend beyond mere concepts. They are woven into the very fabric of our existence. Every decision, no matter how small, can reflect either assertiveness or compassion. As we sift through modern distractions, noticing how these energies play out in our lives can enrich our experiences. For instance, when faced with a problem, think about how a proactive approach influenced by masculinity might blend with the nurturing spirit of femininity for a balanced outcome. This awareness paves the way for more informed and conscious choices in all areas of life. As you reflect on these themes, consider keeping a journal to document moments when you feel the tension between light and dark, or masculine and feminine energies. Ask yourself how they play out in your life. This practice encourages deeper insights and enhances your connection to the cycles of creation and destruction inherent in every aspect of existence. You may find that these reflections empower you, aligning your actions with profound truths that resonate through time. The secret isn't to escape duality, but to harmonize it. A traveler steps into a dimly lit room, finding himself surrounded by two tall mirrors facing each other. As he peers between them, endless reflections stretch into forever, each image slightly different, some clearer, some distorted. This hall of mirrors traps him not by walls but by reflection, a puzzle where every move creates a new version of himself, a new story to chase. The confusion grows until he realizes the mirrors don't trap him. They reveal the natural dance of opposites, teaching him that these reflections aren't enemies but parts of one whole. In this moment, he sees that life, much like these mirrors, holds countless pairs of opposing forces that keep repeating, shaping the way we experience the world. Life is full of contrasts, light and shadow, joy and sorrow, order and chaos. We often want to rush away from the painful or confusing side, hoping for peace on the other shore. But instead of escaping these dualities, the real insight comes when we acknowledge they both exist and are necessary. Just as the traveler between the mirrors learned, harmony arises not from ignoring one side but from finding balance between them. This harmony isn't a distant, peaceful land but a dance where light and dark move together, each giving meaning to the other. When we resist one side, it grows stronger, shadowing us in ways we don't expect. Suppose you fight frustration by denying it. It may quietly fuel anxiety. Or if you cling only to order, chaos finds cracks in the foundation to seep through. Recognizing that these opposites are not enemies but companions helps us step into a new kind of mastery, not through control but through relationship. Mastery here means choosing when to lean into light, when to accept shadow, and when to let them flow like opposite currents in a river rather than opposing walls that block the way. Think about the natural world. Day exists because of night, warmth is defined through cold, growth relies on decay. Our inner selves reflect this rhythm, where emotions and thoughts are rarely pure but mixed. If we try to chase only happiness, we lose touch with the depth sadness brings. Rather than seeing our feelings in isolation, we can think of them as a dance moving us toward wholeness. The traveler's lesson between the mirrors mirrors this human journey, recognizing the parts of ourselves we want to hide or escape as vital pieces of the whole portrait. Finding harmony inside duality means we're no longer prisoners to their ups and downs but participants in the flow, graceful in its push and pull. It opens a door long kept locked, the secret that balance isn't about perfect peace but about embracing tension with curiosity and care. It invites us to meet ourselves where opposing forces live and invite dialogue instead of battle. With practice, this shift moves beyond thought and becomes a felt experience, a quiet knowing that life's contrasts create its depth, and we can live inside that depth with peace. Try this for a moment. The next time you feel pulled between conflicting thoughts or emotions, pause and imagine the tension as the space between two mirrors. Instead of pushing away the uncomfortable reflection, invite it into your awareness like a guest. Notice how the edges blur between what you like and what you resist, and watch if a gentle harmony begins to emerge. This simple pause can move you closer to the subtle art of harmonizing duality, the ancient secret lived by those who do not seek to escape the mirrors but to understand the endless reflections they hold. Reflection. Where do you resist opposites in your life? Imagine standing before a vast canyon, its depths shadowed by darkness but also illuminated by distant light. On one side, chaos swirls like a storm, wild and unpredictable. On the other, order stands firm, steady as a mountain. As you gaze, you realize these forces aren't opposing enemies but parts of a single landscape, each defining the other. Resistance often shows up when we try to push away one side in fear of what it might bring. Yet, when we accept that light and shadow are intertwined, it becomes clear that their separation is an illusion, one our minds create. Recognizing this dance of duality can unlock a deeper understanding of ourselves, revealing that our inner tensions often stem from denying parts of what truly makes us whole. Reflecting on the areas in life where opposites seem to clash can shed light on automatic resistance that keeps us stuck. Think about strength and vulnerability. Most of us lean toward one and shy away from the other, fearing judgment or weakness. Independence and connection can feel like opposing forces, as if embracing one means sacrificing the other. For example, a person might fiercely guard their independence but secretly crave closeness, feeling torn between these needs. When we resist these kinds of dualities, it stirs inner tension, like trying to hold two opposing ropes at once. Instead of letting these opposites coexist naturally, we often build walls to keep them separate, which often leads to feelings of frustration or loneliness. Seeing where we resist these dualities is the first step to accepting ourselves more fully and moving toward harmony within. This resistance can show up in everyday choices, staying quiet when we want to speak out, or pushing down feelings of vulnerability while striving to appear strong. Maybe you find yourself avoiding situations that might make you feel exposed, yet deep inside, you long for heartfelt connection. You might pride yourself on being fiercely independent but notice moments when independence turns into isolation. These are signals that part of you resists embracing both sides simultaneously. Making space for opposites to coexist doesn't mean settling for compromise, but recognizing that they are threads in the same fabric. Embracing opposition can sometimes feel uncomfortable, like stepping into a shadowed room you're used to avoiding. But as you begin to invite these parts in, you start to notice a sense of inner peace that was hidden behind old fears or limiting beliefs. 3. The illusion of separation. The greatest deception: believing we are isolated. Picture a bustling city where people hurry past one another, each absorbed in their own world. Cars weave in and out of traffic, horns blare, and bright screens flicker endlessly. On the surface, it seems like everyone is alone, even in a crowd. Now, contrast that with the ancient rituals of communal gatherings around a fire, where voices harmonize like the chords of a melody. In these moments, a profound sense of connection pulses through the air, a reminder that we are part of something larger than ourselves. The modern life of isolation, powered by technology, often obscures the deeper currents of unity that flow beneath. The illusion of separateness keeps people in a constant state of distraction, as if each is an individual island surrounded by a vast sea. Yet, like the flickering light illuminating faces in the dark, there is a spark of truth waiting to be acknowledged. Many cultures embrace the idea that everything is interconnected, from the smallest microbe to the grandeur of the universe. This perspective reveals the unseen threads that bind us together. Consider the intricate web of roots beneath a forest floor. Each tree relies on others for nutrients, connected through a shared ecosystem. This interdependence extends to our human experiences, echoing the wisdom of ancient teachings. The recognition of these invisible ties presents transformative opportunities for real connection. We can practice mindfulness, focusing on the present moment and engaging with the world around us. Simple acts of kindness towards others can also ignite feelings of unity. When we pause to share a smile or a word of encouragement, we begin to dismantle the illusion of isolation and tap into the collective spirit. As you reflect on the ways to perceive wholeness, consider incorporating moments of gratitude into your daily life. Take time to acknowledge the connections you foster with friends, family, and even strangers. Acknowledge the shared human experience, the laughter, and the challenges we all face. This awareness transforms the mundane into the extraordinary, revealing the threads of connection that weave us into a communal fabric. By recognizing these connections, you not only enrich your own life but help illuminate the shared path each of us walks. As you step into this realization, you may find a sense of belonging emerging, providing warmth and strength to both yourself and those around you. Mystical traditions all pointed toward oneness. Imagine standing in a crowded city street, surrounded by rushing feet and flashing screens, yet suddenly sensing a quiet thread that links everyone, an invisible current beneath the noise connecting all the separate faces. This idea, that the division we perceive is more an illusion than reality, is a secret whispered through every mystical tradition across time and cultures. Whether you look to the ancient Vedic sages, the desert fathers, Sufi poets, or Daoist hermits, one theme rises like a breath of wind through shifting sand. The world is not a collection of isolated beings, but an unfolding whole. At first glance, life feels fragmented, self against other, mind against body, spirit apart from matter, but the mystics saw beyond this. They recognized separation as a kind of mirage, a veil that hides the seamless unity beneath. This hidden oneness is not just an abstract insight, it's the very texture of existence that can be felt and lived. Stories and symbols paint this truth vividly. In some Zen koans, for example, a single drop of water contains the entire ocean. Christian mystics speak of the divine light that resides in every soul, making all things kin. The Sufi tradition calls it Tawhid, the affirmation of unity in God, where every particle reflects the divine presence. The vision changes when this thread is seen, not as a poetic fancy, but as the core reality. It means that the boundary between I and you is not final but flexible, imposed by mind and habit rather than nature. Mystics often describe this realization as a deep awakening to a shared root, an eternal source binding all life. When felt, the illusion of separation softens, and what emerges is a profound feeling of belonging, not just to one's immediate surroundings but to everything. This idea has persisted because it reveals the paradox of existence. Individuality and unity are not opposites but different expressions of the same truth. Ancient traditions sometimes describe this unity as a cosmic dance or a vast ocean of consciousness, with each soul as a wave rising and falling in rhythm. Modern thinkers, too, are catching glimpses of this, through insights in quantum physics, ecology, and psychology that point to underlying connections between all forms of life. Across centuries, the core message remains unchanged. Underneath the apparent chaos of separate things, there is a singular, ever-present wholeness. This is not simply a metaphysical claim but an experiential invitation. It asks each seeker to question the solidity of their separateness, to recognize that what binds us is always greater than what divides us. This recognition has the power to dismantle loneliness, conflict, and fear, offering instead a pathway to compassion, peace, and harmony with the world. Understanding oneness means shifting how reality is perceived, not by denying individuality but by seeing it within a larger context of interconnectedness. When this happens, the world stops feeling like a place of isolation and starts to feel like an intricate web where every action and thought sends ripples through the whole. This awareness transforms everyday experiences. A smile becomes a bridge, a moment of kindness a thread connecting hearts. Instead of separate islands, we recognize a shared land beneath the waves. This realization can bring clarity to confusion, calm to chaos, and meaning to what once seemed random. It invites a living presence, an attention to the subtle ways everything interacts and depends on everything else. Living with this deeper understanding opens a new kind of practical awareness. When we see ourselves not as separate entities competing against one another, but as expressions of a single life force, decisions and actions soften. Empathy grows naturally because hurting another is now felt as hurting oneself. Life moves from a battlefield to a dance floor where every step matters to the whole pattern. This doesn't erase challenges or conflict but reshapes how they are approached, with a quiet confidence that beneath division is always connection waiting to be remembered. Practices like mindful breathing, simple acts of kindness, or reflective journaling can be gateways to this experience, nudging the mind away from separation toward unity. The ancient secrets of oneness are not locked away in dusty scrolls but alive in the moments when we notice the shared breath between ourselves and the world, when the rush of a river reminds us of the flow within our own veins, or when the night sky suddenly feels like a mirror to our soul. These moments offer a choice, to stay caught in separation or to step through the threshold into a living truth that unites all things. Carrying this awareness into daily life creates space for peace to grow quietly but powerfully beneath the surface of ordinary days, inviting us all to live as part of something greater, to feel the pulse of the unseen thread that binds us together. You can begin simply by paying attention to the places where boundaries fade, a glance, a breath, a moment of stillness, and let that guide you to remember what has always been there, the oneness beneath the many. Exercise, micro-moments of unity with others. Imagine walking down a busy street. You might be absorbed in your thoughts, your phone, or simply lost in the rhythm of your steps. Yet, even in those moments of apparent solitude, tiny threads of connection are constantly weaving between you and everyone else around. It could be a shared look with a stranger, a kind word from a cashier, or the way someone glances at you and quickly looks away. These small exchanges whisper of our deep bond, reminding us that connection isn't always loud or obvious. It's often found in the quiet pauses, the fleeting gestures, and the unnoticed interactions that pass by so quickly on any given day. In this modern world, where screens and algorithms dominate much of our attention, we forget how these micro-moments silently stitch us into a larger fabric. Each smile, each nod, each moment of shared understanding, even if brief, reveals our underlying unity. These acts might seem insignificant, but they carry echoes of ancient teachings, reminders that we are part of something greater than ourselves. When you start to notice these small signs, you'll see that beneath the surface of daily routines, an invisible web connects us all, anchoring us in a quiet, persistent harmony. Recognizing these subtle connections takes practice. Instead of rushing past someone on the street or dismissing a casual comment, begin to notice the unspoken bonds at play. The shared human experience unfolds in the eyes of a stranger, in the kindness of a gesture, and in the silence between words. These are the moments that often go unnoticed but carry profound meaning. Opening your awareness to these tiny interactions helps you realize that unity is not something to seek out far away. It's always present, hiding just beneath the surface of everyday life. When you start paying attention, everyday life begins to shimmer with the beauty of connection. Taking a moment of quiet awareness during the day can be like turning on a light in a dark room. Instead of rushing through tasks or distracted by thoughts, Pause briefly to acknowledge the person in front of you, the cashier, the neighbor, or a passerby. Notice how it feels to truly look, without judgment or expectation. Recognize that, at this very moment, you are sharing a space, a breath, a fleeting exchange of energy. With each breath, remind yourself that this moment is part of a larger story, a connection unfolding silently around you and through you. This practice doesn't need long periods or special settings. It can be woven into your daily routines, while waiting in line, when greeting someone, or even during moments of solitude. When you pay attention in these micro-moments, the illusion of separation begins to fade. It's as if a thin veil lifts, revealing the shared essence between yourself and the other person. Over time, these small acts of awareness build a new sense of unity within. They remind you that every interaction, no matter how small, contributes to a larger sense of belonging and connection that touches all aspects of life. By intentionally slowing down and observing these tiny intersections, you help dissolve the barriers created by busyness, distraction, and assumption. Each glimpse into another person's experience fosters empathy and understanding. It's as if you're waking up to the silent symphony of life that plays out constantly around you, often unnoticed. The more you practice recognizing these moments, the more natural it becomes to stay present and to see others not as separate entities but as fellow travelers sharing this journey. Small shifts like these can deepen your sense of unity deeply, anchoring you in a quiet, ever-present connection to the world and everyone in it. A simple way to start is to practice noticing your breath before saying hello or acknowledging someone. Feel the air filling your lungs. Recognize that this breath connects you to the life within and around you. Then, when you engage with others, carry that awareness, knowing that beneath any surface, a shared flow exists. With patience, these micro-moments will reveal a heartfelt truth. We are bound together, even in the unnoticed, fleeting exchanges that make up so much of life. 4. The Law of Correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. The saying as above, so below, as within, so without resonates through the ages, hinting at a profound connection between our internal states and the external world. Imagine standing on a busy city street, surrounded by the noise and chaos of everyday life. Each honk of a car and chatter of pedestrians reflects a world that mirrors our inner psyche. This principle encourages us to explore how our thoughts shape our reality. Just as the stars in the sky move in beautiful patterns, our emotions and beliefs create unseen forces that affect our perceptions and actions. This ancient concept suggests that everything is interconnected. What is true in the cosmic expanse is also true in our personal lives. For example, when we feel joy within, we often notice that the world around us seems more vibrant and alive. Conversely, during periods of doubt, everything can appear dull and grey. By recognizing this synchronization, we begin to understand that our inner world is an active participant in shaping the outer path we walk. Such wisdom encourages us to observe both dimensions, inspiring a journey toward deeper self-awareness. Why patterns repeat at every scale of existence? Imagine walking through a city where every street and every building echoes with similar patterns. Each corner reflects the last, every block unfolds like a mirror of the one before. The windows repeat in shapes and sizes, streetlights flicker rhythmically along avenues, and pavements bear the same textured marks time and again. This endlessly recurring design is more than just architecture. It is a visible language woven into the city's structure. Our world, both natural and human-made, behaves in this way, a constant repetition of shapes, rhythms, and forms that stretch from the tiniest grain of sand to the vast sprawl of urban landscapes. Look closer, and you'll see patterns within patterns. The branches of a tree spread out like veins, similar to rivers flowing across a landscape. Clouds roll in curving layers that echo mountain ridges beneath. Even in the way people move, speak, or form relationships, subtle repetitions emerge, rhythms that hint at something deeper. This is not random chance but a sort of universal signature, carved into every level of existence. It feels like standing before an ancient door whose key is hidden in these repeating shapes. When you notice repeating patterns, what you are really seeing is the world speaking through a secret code, inviting you to recognize the hidden connections that bind everything together. What causes this repeating pattern in nature and life? The answer is in the way systems grow, evolve, and respond to the forces around them. From atoms to galaxies, Things organize themselves into stable arrangements that help conserve energy, maintain balance, or adapt to their surroundings. Take the spiral you find on a seashell, which reflects the same curve pattern found in hurricanes or galaxies spinning in space. This shape isn't a coincidence, it's an efficient way to grow and move, repeated wherever nature needs to stretch or spin. These patterns repeat at multiple scales because the laws shaping the smallest parts of reality are linked to those shaping the biggest. Gravity, growth rates, energy flows, and more. It's like an invisible thread tying together complexity across size and time. On a psychological level, we find similar echoes in the way thoughts and feelings cluster, shaping personal habits and even cultural norms. Our minds tend to create familiar loops, patterns of reaction or behavior, that feel comfortable because they mimic larger patterns in nature. Traditions repeat, stories reappear in various cultures, and even language has fractal qualities, where small sounds recombine to build vast expressions. This mirroring across scales shows how deeply embedded these repeating forms are in our very experience of existence. Recognizing these echoes helps us tune into a rhythm that guides not just how the world looks but how it flows and changes, offering a blueprint for understanding both nature and our inner lives. Patterns at every scale can be seen as a universal language of correspondence, a way the universe expresses the same principles over and over but in different costumes, whether atomic, planetary, or social. This language isn't spoken in words but in shapes, movements, and relations. When you notice a particular pattern, a spiral tightening in a snail's shell or a cycle repeating in your own daily life, you are witnessing the same underlying truth reflected in a new form. These repeating structures act like hidden keys, unlocking a sense of order hidden beneath what might appear as chaos or randomness. Each loop, wave, or sequence carries a message about balance, growth, or change, providing clues about how the universe works on every scale. Think of these patterns as reflections in a hall of mirrors, where every image is slightly different yet connected by the same hidden geometry. Scientists, artists, and philosophers have long been fascinated by this, recognizing in the repeating forms a bridge that connects disparate realms, matter and spirit, microcosm and macrocosm. The fractals in snowflakes, the branching of lightning, and the rhythms in music all speak the same silent language. By learning to read this language, we open a door to deeper understanding, seeing the world not as fragmented pieces but as interconnected whole parts of a greater design. This recognition can change how we approach problems or growth because it shows pathways that span beyond singular moments or isolated events. Observing how patterns repeat invites you into a different way of seeing life, one that trusts in rhythms and echoes rather than random outcomes. When you find yourself stuck in a repetitive cycle, whether in thought or circumstance, it's an opportunity to step back, see the pattern, and gently shift the rhythm. This simple practice of noticing where things loop in your life or surroundings helps uncover energies and influences that were previously invisible. By tuning into these repeated forms, you can learn to align with the natural flow instead of fighting against it, making choices that feel more harmonious and grounded. Try this the next time you feel overwhelmed or caught in a loop. Pause and observe. Notice if there is a repeated pattern in your thoughts, emotions, or actions. See if it reflects something broader, from your natural environment to a recurring theme in your relationships. Then ask yourself what this pattern might be trying to teach you or where it might guide you next. Sometimes, the key to growth lies in the very cycle you want to escape. Becoming aware of these repetitions shifts your role from being trapped in a pattern to becoming a conscious participant in its unfolding story. Practical tool: finding fractals in your daily life. Imagine walking down a busy street and noticing how the shapes of buildings repeat themselves in smaller details, like the pattern of bricks on a wall echoing the design of a mosaic at a nearby cafe. These repeating shapes, no matter the size or scale, are classic signs of fractal patterns hiding in everyday objects and experiences. By paying close attention to the way certain elements mirror each other, whether it's the branching of a tree reflecting the veins of a leaf or the way city streets divide into smaller alleyways, you begin to see how the universe continuously echoes its larger design in tiny details. Recognizing these patterns isn't just an exercise in observation. It's a way to tap into the subtle rhythm of the world around you, understanding that much of what appears random is actually part of a larger, coherent structure. Applying this awareness begins with simple everyday moments. Take a moment while waiting in line, look at the shape of the clouds, the way a fern frond unfolds, or the design of a spiral shell. Notice how these shapes resemble larger forms you might have seen in nature or a sculpture. When you're scrolling through your social media feed, observe patterns in the images or videos. Perhaps many share a similar symmetry or repeated motifs. These small observations act like keys, revealing layers of complexity within what we might otherwise dismiss as ordinary. The more you look for these echoes, the more your mind becomes attuned to the universe's fractal language, where intricacies are woven into the fabric of daily life. One practical step is to begin a pattern journal, where you jot down moments when you notice repeating shapes, structures, or ideas. For example, find the fractal pattern in the cracks of dried mud, the way river tributaries mirror the shape of a branching tree, or how a piece of artwork echoes the natural fractals of the landscape. When you start to notice these details regularly, it becomes easier to see their presence across different parts of your life. These observations can deepen your understanding that chaos and order are intertwined, and that even in cluttered city streets or noisy cafes, there are hidden repetitions waiting to be unveiled. This awareness opens a door to a silent, ongoing conversation between you and the universe, a dance of patterns echoing endlessly at every scale. 5. The inner temple. True initiation happens within, not in lodges or rituals. Many people believe that ceremonies and rituals hold the key to personal transformation. They often see them as magical events, much like turning the pages of an ancient book, hoping for secrets to spill forth. In contemporary life, this can feel like scrolling endlessly through social media feeds, seeking enlightenment or moments of insight that perhaps are right around the corner. Yet, despite our eagerness, we find ourselves chasing reflections rather than engaging with the essence of our being. The truth is that while rituals and ceremonies can enhance our experience, they are not the core of transformation. Personal growth is an internal journey. The true initiation happens when we turn inward, confront our fears, and acknowledge our desires. This inner work transcends the external show, allowing us to connect with our own truths instead of relying solely on universally accepted symbols or traditions. The essence of transformation exists in the silent moments of self-reflection, when we ask ourselves challenging questions about who we are and who we want to become. Imagine your mind and spirit as a temple, a sacred space where genuine initiation takes place. Unlike grand structures adorned with ornate symbols, this temple is characterized by the quiet whispers of inner wisdom. It is within these still spaces that self-mastery begins. Acknowledging our thoughts, emotions, and the stories we tell ourselves dismantles the illusions built by the world outside. This internal landscape offers a treasure trove of insights. It might be a realization that your perceived limitations are merely constructs, or that the barriers you've built to guard your heart can also shut out joy. The path to awakening can feel daunting, yet it is also a beautiful unraveling that invites us to embrace vulnerability, authenticity, and connection. As you venture inward, you unlock the doors of understanding, revealing the true strength and resilience that lie dormant within. To cultivate this inner journey, try to set aside time each day for reflection. Just as ancient seekers would sit in meditation, so too can you find moments of stillness in your daily routine. Be present with your thoughts without judgment, and allow insights to emerge organically. Over time, this practice fosters a deeper connection to yourself and the wisdom that resides in your inner temple, opening pathways to personal mastery without the need for external validation. Building the temple of awareness. Picture your mind as an ancient temple, vast and silent, waiting patiently for its true master to arrive. Each thought and feeling acts like a carefully placed stone in this sacred space, laid down with intention and care. Over time, some stones may have shifted, and dust might have gathered, but the structure itself remains, holding the potential for clarity and peace. This temple is not built in haste. It has stood through ages of distraction and noise, standing ready to reveal its hidden chambers to those who seek with patience and devotion. When you begin to bring steady attention to your inner world, it's as if you start clearing the layers of dust and debris that cover the temple's carved walls and delicate frescoes. This process is quiet but powerful. Consistent awareness carves away the chaos and confusion that, over time, have clouded your perception. With each moment of focused presence, you uncover the pure, shining light at the heart of your being. This inner sanctuary, once hidden beneath clutter and distraction, becomes luminous and inviting, a space where clarity and calm naturally arise. In everyday life, distractions come in the form of endless notifications, rushing schedules, and constant mental chatter. These act like bricks blocking the doors and windows of your temple, muffling the light within. As awareness grows, you begin to recognize these obstructions not as threats but as temporary barriers. You learn to observe them without judgment, gently peeling them away like ivy from ancient stone. This patient work deepens your relationship with your own mind, teaching you that the temple has always been intact. It just needed your attention to reveal its true strength and beauty. Building this temple isn't about mastering every thought or silencing the mind completely. Rather, it's about becoming the careful guardian of your inner space, knowing when to open windows to fresh air and when to close doors to noisy distractions. This guardianship invites you into a dance with your own awareness, a rhythm of noticing, allowing, and returning again with kindness. Each return carries a deeper connection, a greater light, and a quieter presence. As you practice, you will find that your temple is no longer a distant ideal but a living foundation where your true self can rest and grow. One way to begin this process daily is to pause for brief moments of attention, even if only for a few breaths. Notice the sensations in your body, the flow of your thoughts, and the feeling of the space around you. Treat these moments as offerings to your temple, acts of care that strengthen its stones and polish its surfaces. Over time, these small pauses build the architecture of awareness, supporting you in seeing clearly amid life's noise and complexity. Your inner temple becomes not just a refuge but a source of wisdom and calm that you can carry everywhere. Exercise. A guided inner temple meditation. Imagine stepping into a quiet, hidden corner of your mind, a space that feels like a sacred sanctuary, tucked away from the noise of everyday life. Picture this inner temple as a peaceful retreat, a chamber where your deepest truths quietly reside. It might be a luminous hall, a cozy alcove, or a quiet garden, whatever feels most genuine to you. As you close your eyes, allow your mind to create this space with simple details, soft lighting, gentle sounds, or a calm stillness. This is your personal refuge, a place where you can pause and reconnect with your inner self, no matter how chaotic the outside world seems. To begin your exploration, find a comfortable position and take slow, full breaths. Feel the air as it moves in and out, grounding you in the present moment. As you breathe, set the intention to discover your inner temple, a quiet space that exists beneath the surface of your thoughts. Visualize a gentle path leading inward, perhaps a corridor of light or a soft stairway descending into a serene chamber. Each breath draws you closer to this hidden sanctuary, helping you calm your mind and notice the subtle layers of your inner world. Keep your focus light and relaxed. There's no need to force anything. Just allow your awareness to soften and to flow naturally inward. Once you feel a sense of calm, imagine yourself approaching the door of your inner temple. This door may feel like a threshold, somewhat mysterious but welcoming. When you're ready, gently open the door and step inside, paying attention to what you see, hear, and feel in this sacred space. Notice the details, perhaps a soft glow, a calming scent, or an inviting silence. As you settle deeper into your inner temple, you might find subtle layers or chambers, each holding a different aspect of your inner self. Some areas radiate peace, others beckon curiosity, and some may reveal quiet wisdom or gentle truths. Approach each layer with openness, knowing that this is a space of safety and discovery. Throughout your meditation, keep your attention steady yet gentle. If your mind wanders, gently guide it back to your awareness of the space you're exploring. Notice the sensations in your body and the sounds around you. These anchors help keep you present. Imagine a peaceful light slowly illuminating different parts of your inner temple, revealing hidden corners or sacred relics that symbolize parts of your inner landscape. As you do, remind yourself that this process is about curiosity, not perfection. Every glance, every breath deepens your connection, unlocking more of the subtle layers within your inner sanctuary. With time, this attention cultivates a feeling of trust and openness inside. As your meditation session comes to a close, take a moment to thank yourself for exploring this inner space. Slowly bring your awareness back to your physical body by noticing your breath and any sensations in your hands or feet. When you're ready, gently open your eyes, carrying the sense of calm and curiosity into your day. To deepen this practice over time, consider journaling your impressions or observing how your inner temple responds during daily moments of stillness. Even brief moments of visualization can gradually strengthen your connection with your inner sanctuary, making it a reliable source of calm and insight whenever you need it. Remember, it's helpful to revisit this meditation regularly, treating your inner temple as a familiar refuge you can access anytime you seek clarity or peace. Over days and weeks, noticing what shifts or deepens within your inner space can bring a sense of quiet strength and recognition of your own hidden depths. The secret is simply to keep coming back, with gentle patience and genuine curiosity. In time, you might discover that this sacred space becomes a wellspring of calm in your busy life, always waiting to reveal its quiet, profound truths. 6. Desire as fire. Ancient alchemists knew desire was sacred fuel. In the heart of every individual lies an intense spark of desire, much like the glowing embers in a blacksmith's forge. This desire fuels our aspirations, challenges us to grow, and adds depth to our existence. Just as a blacksmith takes raw metal and shapes it into something beautiful and functional, we too can take the raw material of our desires and mold it into meaningful actions and outcomes. This transformative power of desire is what ancient alchemists recognized as sacred. They understood that it is not just a fleeting sentiment or a momentary craving, but a driving force behind profound change and mastery over oneself. The fire of desire ignites our passions, guiding us through a journey of self-discovery and creation. Desire inspires us to chase our dreams, whether it's finding a fulfilling career, forging deep relationships, or seeking a deeper understanding of the world around us. It's like the early morning sun that warms the earth, pushing us toward growth and renewal. When we engage with our desires consciously, we set in motion a cycle of action and reaction, much like the blacksmith methodically shaping metal. Each strike of the hammer represents a deliberate effort toward manifestation, turning the malleable raw material of desire into the finished product of achievement. Alchemists believed that true transformation begins within. They viewed desire as a sacred energy that connects our innermost selves with the greater universe. When desires are felt deeply, they reveal pathways to personal growth and understanding. This kind of desire is not about wanton greed or superficial wishes. Rather, it serves as an invitation to explore our deepest motivations and aspirations. In this light, desire becomes a powerful tool in our quest for self-mastery. The journey of self-discovery is akin to an alchemical process where base materials are transformed into something precious and refined. If we can embrace our desires and use them as a guiding compass, we can navigate through life's challenges, revealing greater wisdom and insight. The ancient wisdom tells us that without recognizing and honoring our desires, we risk living a life of mediocrity, devoid of passion and fulfillment. By paying attention to what we truly crave, we unlock doors that lead to new opportunities and growth. To harness this sacred fuel, take a moment to reflect on your desires. What is it that truly calls to you? Is it a career change, a new relationship, or perhaps the pursuit of a long-held dream? Jot down your thoughts and feelings around these desires. This process of reflection can help clarify what is essential for your personal transformation. By engaging with desire in this way, you prepare the ground for meaningful change and alchemical mastery in your life. How to transmute craving into creation. Imagine a fire blazing in the heart, wild and hungry, consuming everything in its path without pause or mercy. Craving often feels just like that, a relentless energy fueled by desire, pulling you toward whatever promises satisfaction or escape. Left unchecked, this fire can burn you out, leaving only ashes and regret behind. But if you learn to hold it gently, to understand its rhythm and source, that very same fire can be shaped and guided. Instead of destroying, it begins to forge new paths, new realities, new creations. Desire is a primal force embedded deep within us, like the ancient hunger for life itself. It's neither good nor bad, but it demands respect, attention, and skill if we want to turn it from a recklessness into a spark of innovation and meaning. When craving bursts out like a storm, it hides its potential beneath layers of impatience, distraction, and restless longing. Think about the way your mind races when scrolling endlessly through feeds, chasing fleeting satisfaction. That restless energy points to something deeper, a longing that wants to be expressed or honored. Rather than letting it pull you into cycles of consumption or frustration, the challenge lies in recognizing craving as raw creative energy waiting for a form. Ancient wisdom often calls this the fire of transformation. It burns away what no longer serves, but it also lights the way forward. Converting craving into creation means listening closely, feeling where that heat lives inside you, then consciously directing it towards something you choose to bring into being, a piece of work, a new habit, a healing insight. Craving, when embraced with awareness, becomes a teacher rather than a tormentor. At its root, craving arises from a place of want, for connection, for achievement, for beauty, for relief. Every artist, inventor, or leader has faced craving's raw power. They transformed their restless hunger into a clear, deliberate action step. It's like a smith working metal in a forge. The furnace roars wild, but the craftsman learns to hold the iron just right, cooling and shaping until a purposeful object emerges. This is not about suppressing desire or pretending it isn't there. It is about knowing how to harness the energy so it flows through you rather than against you, becoming the driving fuel of creation rather than a chaotic blaze of dissatisfaction. Transmutation of craving starts with awareness, the simple act of noticing the surge of wanting inside without immediately acting on it. When you feel that pull, pause and breathe. Feel the energy, but don't let it send you into impulse. This moment of interruption is the threshold where transformation begins. Then, shift your attention inward. Where is this craving coming from? Is it hunger masked as anxiety? Is it loneliness seeking companionship? Is it boredom disguised as restlessness? Naming the real need behind the craving softens its intensity and opens the door to mindful action. Once you've given craving a moment to be seen and named, you can guide it toward creation by deciding where you want to place your energy. Instead of chasing distractions, redirect your focus to intentional steps you can take. This might mean drafting a page if you're inspired to write, starting a stretch if your body feels tight, or simply setting a small goal that honors the underlying need. The secret lies in turning inward focus into outward action that builds rather than depletes. This process often involves slowing down enough to connect with your deeper purpose. What kind of world you want to contribute to, what voice you wish to express, or how you want to feel in your own skin. There is a natural rhythm to energy transmutation. Craving is not extinguished but transformed. Like water turned to steam, it expands and lifts, giving you a creative momentum that doesn't burn out but sustains you. This practice grows stronger each time you pause, name the desire beneath the surface, and choose to act with clarity and care. Over time, what once felt like a chaotic pull becomes a refined fuel, driving your intentions forward with a quiet power. You learn to trust craving as a kind of language from your deeper self, a messenger that, when listened to, can reveal new ideas, new projects, or new ways of being. A useful way to begin this journey is to create small rituals around this process. When craving strikes, take a moment to breathe deeply and journal what you're feeling. Write down what the craving wants and what you might create instead. Ask yourself if the craving points to a need for rest, connection, expression, or something else. Gradually, this simple practice develops a skill of conscious energy management. Your cravings become seeds, and your focused attention the soil in which they take root. By making this shift, you walk through an invisible door, one few ever notice, that opens onto a path where desire no longer controls you, but rather guides you to build something meaningful from its fire. Practice. Desire Journaling Transformation Blueprint. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet forest at dawn, the air still and thick with anticipation. Every step you take forward begins with a gentle pause, to listen inward, to notice what stirs within. The act of journaling your deepest desires works the same way. Take a moment each day to sit calmly with a blank notebook or your preferred writing space. Let yourself be honest and open, without judgment or expectation. Write about what truly calls to your heart, no matter how simple or unimportant it might seem. Maybe it's a longing for more connection, a dream to create something meaningful, or a feeling you've been craving to experience more fully. This practice is less about crafting perfect sentences and more about giving yourself permission to explore your inner landscape. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, silent whispers, or recurring themes that point towards what genuinely matters to you. As you become more familiar with these thoughts, you'll deepen your sense of self-awareness, the first step toward harnessing desire as a guiding light. It's like uncovering hidden keys buried deep in the soil, each jot of ink revealing a fragment of your true self, patiently waiting to be unlocked. Allow this act of honest reflection to become a daily ritual, a sacred moment where your inner world softly speaks its truths. The more you listen, the clearer your inner compass becomes, paving the way for purpose to emerge from the depths of your longing. Once these insights are rooted in your awareness, the next step is to begin shaping them into a clear blueprint for your life. This involves translating feelings into intentions, conscious statements that reflect what you wish to create or experience. Start by imagining your desire as if it has already begun to manifest. For instance, if you long for deeper connection, frame it as, "I open myself to meaningful relationships that nourish my soul," rather than just wishing for more friends. Write down specific intentions, and then create related action steps that can move you closer to those visions. Perhaps this means reaching out to someone, setting aside time for reflection, or making small changes that support your goal. The key is to see your desire as a seed, not a distant dream, but a present possibility waiting to be cultivated. Notice how intentions activate your energy. They serve as a blueprint because they clarify your focus and turn vague longing into tangible action. This process helps you harness desire not as a fleeting wish but as a purpose in motion, guiding every decision and step you take. With each writing session, you reinforce your commitment to turning inner sparks into concrete realities. Over time, this becomes a natural way of living, responding to your deepest truths with clarity and intention, transforming longing into a powerful force that shapes your journey. Practicing this daily desire journaling and blueprint creation transforms how you relate to yourself and the world around you. As you write, reflect, and plan, you create a sacred conversation with your inner self, one that reveals not just what you want but who you are becoming. This is a process of awakening, a gradual unfolding that combines honest exploration with intentional creation. The act of putting your desires into words acts as a bridge, turning vague hopes into actionable visions. It helps you see your life as a canvas, where every thought and step contributes to the masterpiece you're shaping. As these written intentions gain momentum, they ripple outward, aligning your actions, thoughts, and feelings toward what you genuinely seek. Remember, the blueprint isn't about perfection or immediate results. It's about steady acknowledgement of your true nature and your capacity to create. Each day's journaling becomes a sacred ritual, a moment of aligning your energy with your highest aspirations. Keep in mind that desire is a force that, when understood and directed consciously, can guide you beyond limitations toward a life that feels authentic and meaningful. By making desire your compass, you're setting in motion a powerful method of self-discovery and transformation that gently unfolds with every truthful word and intentional step you take. 7. The shadow and the light. The secret rites always required facing the shadow. Long ago, in a quiet village nestled between towering mountains and whispering forests, there lived a seeker named Ilara. Every day, she ventured into the woods, collecting herbs and listening to the songs of the birds. Her heart was light, and her spirit danced with the light of the sun. Yet, deep within her, there lay a shadow, a part of herself she rarely acknowledged. The villagers spoke of a hidden cave, a sacred place where one could meet their shadow and gain profound wisdom. Ilara, intrigued yet fearful, thought of the stories she had heard. Those who faced their shadow emerged transformed, but for those who fled, there was only stagnation. So, she felt a pull toward the cave, a beckoning whisper that promised truth. One moonlit night, courage ignited within her, and she followed the glow of the stars to the cave's entrance. As she stepped inside, the darkness enveloped her, yet she pressed on, guided by the flickering light of her inner flame. There, in the stillness, she faced her fears, regrets, and hidden desires, all manifesting as a shadowy figure. Rather than a monster, she saw the fragmented pieces of herself, each telling a story. It was uncomfortable, yet in confronting the very essence of her shadow, she found profound clarity. No longer bound by the fear of the darkness, Ilara learned that only by embracing all parts of herself could she truly grow. Recognizing and integrating our shadow is not just a tale from ancient wisdom, it's a practical journey each of us can undertake. The first step is to identify when you feel discomfort. This discomfort often points to parts of ourselves we might want to ignore. You might experience sudden anger when a friend makes a comment or feel a pang of jealousy when scrolling through social media. Take a moment to pause and observe these feelings. Write them down if you can. What are they trying to tell you? Once you've acknowledged these emotions, consider sitting quietly for a few moments each day. Use this time to reflect on what lies beneath the surface. Ask yourself questions like, "What do I fear?" or "What traits in others irritate me?" Often, the qualities we dislike in others are reflections of our own shadow. Journaling about these insights can be a powerful tool, creating dialogues with parts of ourselves we've kept quiet. As you grow more comfortable with these reflections, think about integrating what you've discovered. If you realize you harbor anger, find healthy outlets to express it, perhaps in creativity, through exercise, or honest conversations with friends. Engaging with your shadow helps to forge a more complete self. Remember that acceptance does not mean chaos, it means allowing room for healing and growth. At the end of the week, reflect on your experiences. What insights have emerged from facing your shadow? Consider asking yourself how this understanding shifts your perception of challenges in your life. The more you engage with this process, the more you'll uncover hidden truths about yourself. Shadow work doesn't have to be an isolating experience. Share your findings with trusted friends. This conversation can create a sense of community and bring light to everyone's individual journeys. Balance growth with compassion, ensuring you're patient with yourself as you navigate through discomfort. Remember, embracing your shadow is not a one-time event but an ongoing practice, an evolution towards wholeness. Jungian shadow meets mystical initiation. As the sun slips behind the mountain's edge, a lone traveler climbs higher, shrouded by the gathering dusk. The fading light paints long, twisted shadows on craggy stone, shadows that seem to stretch and breathe with a life of their own. Each step forward grows heavier not because of the physical strain, but because the traveler is forced to face those dark shapes, not just on the ground but within. The mountain's silhouette is sharp, a boundary between the visible and the veiled. The fading light reveals hidden contours, making the unknown feel both frightening and magnetic. The traveler doesn't turn back. Instead, there is a quiet compulsion to confront what stands in the dimming glow. Those shadows echo parts of the self often left unseen, fears, regrets, impulses, or forgotten strengths. At this edge between light and dark, the traveler begins to understand that the climb isn't just physical, it's a journey inward. Recognizing the shadows is the first step toward embracing what lies beyond fear and denial. It's an invitation to step through a threshold where the unknown is not avoided but welcomed, where darkness is not an enemy but a hidden guide. In moments like these, the mountain becomes more than a place on a map. It transforms into a living symbol of our inner terrain, where the fading day calls us to meet our whole selves, the parts we carry lightly and those we have tucked away deep inside. The ascent at dusk holds a quiet promise, that in facing shadows with steady feet and calm breaths, the traveler might find a light that does more than illuminate. It transforms. In the world of psychology, the Jungian shadow represents the parts of ourselves that we keep hidden, traits we reject, qualities deemed unworthy, impulses buried beneath layers of social expectation and personal denial. This is not about evil or darkness in a moral sense, but about the unknown self, the unlived parts that shape our behavior and feelings, often without our awareness. When left unexplored, the shadow can sabotage and confuse, but when acknowledged, it can lead to remarkable growth and depth. Mystical initiation, across cultures and ages, has often been about opening doors, moments when a person crosses from ordinary awareness into a deeper understanding of life and self. Unlike a simple awakening, initiation involves facing the shadows that guard that door. These shadows are the parts that resist change, cling to comfort, or carry pain and shame. The initiation asks for courage to lean into this discomfort without retreat, to integrate these fragments into a wider sense of self. The meeting point of the shadow and mystical initiation is a sacred crossroads. Here, the dark pieces are not expelled or rejected but invited into the light of consciousness. The process transforms fragmented inner parts into a more balanced whole, a wholeness that carries both light and shadow with equal truth. It is a process less about perfect harmony and more about honest recognition and acceptance. When we invite the shadow to step forward, we activate a hidden alchemy that can deepen understanding, creativity, and compassion. Life rarely hands us neat moments of awakening. Shadows might appear in moments of anger we don't understand, in recurring patterns of fear or self-doubt, or even in the gentle voice of intuition pushing us toward change. Recognizing these as calls to initiate ourselves is an act of bravery. It means pausing amid the noise of daily life and asking, what is this feeling? What part of me is speaking through discomfort? The traveler on the mountain path could be anyone, walking the urban streets, scrolling through endless social feeds, or sitting quietly alone. The shadow waits patiently to be seen, often disguised as distraction or annoyance. Initiation into the shadow can feel like stepping into a room with dim light, where shapes are unclear but you know they are there. Sitting with discomfort, breathing through it, and refusing quick solutions becomes a practice. Some traditions use ritual, silence, or focused intention to support this process. Others find initiation in moments of deep honesty with a trusted friend, in therapy, or even in creative expression. Whatever the form, the essential work is to turn toward what we have long ignored. Over time, the shadows lose their sharp edges. They soften when met with curiosity instead of fear, with kindness instead of judgment. This doesn't mean shadow work is easy or swift. It is more like the slow carving of stone, revealing something precious beneath rough surfaces. The shadow reveals its gifts only when we are ready to stay present, to be whole rather than fractured. Next time you notice a feeling you'd rather avoid, a pang of jealousy, a burst of anger, or a quiet ache of loneliness, take a moment to recognize it as part of your shadow speaking. Rather than pushing it away, quietly invite it to be heard. You don't have to solve anything right away. Simply noticing and naming these feelings plants a seed of integration. Over days and weeks, return to this practice like a traveler who meets shadows on a mountain road, knowing that every step forward invites more light into your life. Practice naming one shadow you can honor, not fear. Imagine walking down a busy street, surrounded by the noise of honking cars and chatter. Amid this chaos, there's a shadow cast at your feet, an unfamiliar shape that you'd rather ignore. For years, we tend to avoid these shadows inside us, dismissing them as flaws or mistakes to hide away. But what if, instead of running from that dark spot, we paused and looked closely? Shadows are not just empty darkness, they're the parts of ourselves we haven't fully seen or understood. They hide truths that could help us grow stronger, wiser, and more complete. The secret lies in recognizing that what we fear is often a lost piece of ourselves, waiting patiently for acknowledgement to turn from a burden into a gift. Reflecting on a personal shadow requires honesty and a gentle willingness to see the parts of ourselves that have stayed in the shadows. Maybe there's a part of you that feels anger, jealousy, or shame but insists on hiding it because it feels dangerous or embarrassing. Often, these hidden parts are there because society or our own beliefs told us they aren't acceptable. But when we shift from fearing these traits to understanding them, we begin to see them as messengers rather than enemies. They hold information about what we truly need, what we value, or what wounds still require healing. Recognizing these aspects as parts of our story transforms them from enemies into silent guides pointing towards understanding and acceptance. Gently, start this journey by asking yourself which emotion or trait you have avoided or dismissed most often. Is it anger you hide behind smiles? Envy you pretend isn't there? Discovering these parts isn't about judgment but about curiosity. When you pause and observe, notice how these shadows feel, sometimes heavy, sometimes light. Remember, shadows only exist in relation to light. Our task isn't to banish them but to bring light to them. Seeing our shadows as gifts means opening space for parts of ourselves that can teach us lessons about greed, fear, or vulnerability. They are ancient keys that unlock the deeper layers of who we truly are, waiting silently until we choose to acknowledge them with kindness. Visualize standing at a doorway carved in old stone. Behind it lies a truth about yourself you've hesitated to face. With each step you take closer, you realize that this door isn't a threat but an opportunity. Choosing to recognize one shadow trait, perhaps impatience or stubbornness, can serve as the first step towards sovereignty over parts of yourself you've only tolerated. To honor this trait, acknowledge its presence without guilt, and consider how it has served you. Maybe impatience pushed you to act swiftly when things needed urgent attention. Perhaps stubbornness kept you from breaking under pressure or gave you resilience during tough times. Honor doesn't mean accepting every behavior or letting it rule your life, but rather understanding its origin and purpose. By doing so, you turn an obstacle into an ally. For example, if you recognize impatience as a shadow trait, you might respect it as a sign that you value progress and efficiency deeply. When you honor it, you remove the shame that often accompanies shadow traits and instead relate to them as parts of your whole being, messy, imperfect, yet real. This act of acknowledgement can lessen their control and give you power over how they influence your actions. It's like finding the secret passage through a maze. Once you understand the landscape within, you see that what once limited you now guides your choices with clarity. Choosing to honor your shadow trait can also inspire small daily practices, like pausing before reacting in anger or questioning your impulse of stubbornness. These moments of conscious acknowledgement create a new inner dialogue that respects your complexity. When you stop fighting against these parts and instead invite them to the table, you unlock a new level of self-awareness. That awareness becomes a foundation for making intentional choices, rather than reacting out of unconscious patterns. Honoring your shadows forms a bridge between who you are now and the fuller version of yourself you are becoming, a version rooted in honesty, compassion, and wholeness. Remember, inside every shadow is the seed of transformation waiting to bloom when given enough space and understanding. Work quietly each day to step into this new relationship with your shadows. Write down one shadow trait you notice in yourself and explore its history. Ask yourself what purpose it has served and how it might now support your growth. By doing this gently, you shift your perspective from fear to acceptance, unlocking hidden strengths and insights. Shadows are not foes but teachers cloaked in darkness. With patience and curiosity, you can start to see them as guides leading you toward a more integrated and truthful self. 8. The Law of Silence. Why initiates kept wisdom unspoken? Throughout history, many traditions have emphasized the significance of silence as a guardian of wisdom. Imagine an ancient initiate walking through the quiet corridors of a temple, deep in thought. This initiate understands that certain truths, when shared too freely, can lose their depth and power. Sacred knowledge was often seen as something too profound for the unprepared mind, much like precious jewels kept under lock and key. In this way, silence was not just a physical absence of sound but a protective measure for transformative truths, allowing only those ready to understand their nuances to access them. In many cultures, the decision to keep specific teachings unspoken came from the belief that true understanding requires personal experience. Words, after all, can easily be misinterpreted or diluted. Early initiates understood that sharing wisdom without context could lead to superficial interpretations. Their silence fostered an atmosphere of contemplation, encouraging seekers to engage with their inner thoughts and feelings, rather than relying solely on external explanations. The wisdom of the ages often echoed within, guiding those who chose to listen carefully and deeply. Silence serves as a powerful portal, inviting individuals to step beyond mere words into the realm of genuine understanding. Picture a calm lake reflecting the moonlight. It is in these still moments that clarity emerges. Similarly, unspoken wisdom invites individuals to pause, reflect, and connect with their own intuitive understanding. Rather than being distracted by chatter and noise, the absence of words allows one to dive into a quieter space, where insights can unfold organically. This is where transformative realizations can happen, where profound shifts in perspective are often ignited. Moreover, silence has the ability to create a sacred space, a container for deep exploration of thought and feeling. When wisdom is left unspoken, it becomes a thread connecting those who are ready to understand with those who have walked the path before. This thread stretches through time, binding generations and cultures in an intimate dance of shared experience and insight. Reflect on moments when you felt deeply connected to knowledge without needing someone to explain it. Each such experience reveals the potency of silence, a gateway to understanding that transcends language. To embrace this kind of wisdom in modern life, consider creating moments of silence within your day. Try setting aside time for reflection, even if just a few minutes. Allow yourself to simply be with your thoughts. Notice what emerges. You may find that some of your most profound insights come during these quiet moments, illuminating paths you hadn't formally considered. By nurturing this connection to silence, you invite the kind of insights that deepen your understanding of both yourself and the world around you. The modern lesson: restraint, presence, and inner knowing. Long ago, in a small mountain monastery far from the clamor of towns and villages, an ancient monk sat silently within his dimly lit cell. Outside, the world was alive with noise, wind rattling the trees, distant shouting from traders, birds calling one another. Yet inside that quiet space, the monk held stillness like a precious stone. He practiced silence not merely by keeping his lips closed, but by stopping the endless chatter of his mind. In those moments of restraint, when nothing stirred in him, a deep clarity emerged. It was as if a veil lifted, revealing a light that had been there all along but was hidden beneath the noise. This silence was no empty void. it was the gateway to a knowing beyond words. That monk had learned how to hold presence in a world that constantly sought to pull attention away, uncovering an inner power that needed no outward display. Today, the world around us hums with a relentless buzz. Our days are shaped by the glowing screens that beckon with endless feeds, messages, notifications, and calls. Even in moments alone, our minds race with worries, plans, judgments, and stories spun from past and future. This constant noise blurs the boundaries between what is urgent and what truly matters. Unlike the mountain monk who could retreat into silence, few of us have that luxury anymore, yet that very fact makes the lesson of restraint more vital. Choosing silence, even for brief moments, allows us to cut through the clamor. It's not about shutting out the world but about tuning inward, cultivating presence that anchors us in the here and now. When the noise fades, we come into contact with a quiet knowing inside, a wisdom that doesn't shout but simply is. This inner knowing becomes a compass, guiding actions that feel authentic and deep, rather than reactive or forced. Learning restraint in today's world is itself an act of courage. It means resisting the pull of distraction, setting boundaries for how we respond to information and demands. By practicing presence, we begin cultivating a calm center that is not shaken by external chaos or internal turmoil. This doesn't mean escaping life but engaging with it from a grounded place. The ancient monk's silence was a powerful practice, not just for quiet's sake, but because it revealed a hidden strength in stillness. When we embrace restraint, we discover that power too. It is a steady flame that glows clearly even when the wind tries to snuff it out, a presence that lets us lead our lives with conscious awareness rather than unconscious reaction. To start cultivating this yourself, try simple moments of mindful pause during your day, breathing deeply, noticing your surroundings, or just resting your attention quietly. These moments become keys, unlocking doors within that have long stayed closed beneath the noise. Exercise, daily 10-minute sacred silence practice. Envision yourself in a busy city, streets alive with movement, horns blaring, screens flashing. Now, imagine stepping into a quiet, empty space, an ancient doorway that leads inward. In that moment, outside sounds diminish, and a gentle quiet takes their place. That silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's a space where your inner voice can finally be heard. Sacred silence acts like a key to a deeper part of yourself, whispering secrets long kept hidden amid the chaos of daily life. It's as if at that silent crossroad, you find a doorway to a calmer, clearer mind, your true self waiting quietly on the other side. Setting aside just a short span of time, 10 minutes, can seem small, but it holds the power to change your entire day. This moment isn't about forcing meditation or clearing your mind completely. It's simply about choosing to step into a quiet space, free from distractions, where you can sit still and listen deeply. Imagine turning off your phone, closing your eyes, and allowing your breath to slow. In those moments, your senses soften, and your thoughts drift by like clouds. Over time, this practice becomes a simple act of respect toward yourself, a sacred ritual that helps you tune into feelings and insights you might miss otherwise. As you begin each day with this small pause, your inner voice becomes clearer, and your perspective shifts toward what truly matters. Remember, sacred silence isn't something you find outside or seek from others. It's a skill to cultivate from within. Treat your daily 10-minute practice as a sacred ritual, a chance to reconnect with the quiet core inside. This gentle commitment can be a quiet revolution in your life, revealing subtle truths and helping you navigate your day with more calm and intention. The more consistently you spend in this silence, the more familiar that inner space becomes, a wellspring of insight, peace, and connection to the present moment that is always available to you. Even with the busyness lingering around, this small daily practice becomes your anchor, a reminder that the deepest answers often come when the external noise fades. 9. The power of symbols. Why wisdom has always been encoded in myth, geometry, ritual. Ancient civilizations were masters of storytelling. They embedded their understanding of the world into myths that revealed profound truths about the human experience. For instance, the story of Prometheus in Greek mythology highlights themes of sacrifice and the quest for knowledge. Prometheus stole fire from the gods, offering it to humanity. This act symbolizes the struggle for enlightenment, reminding us that wisdom often comes with a price. Myths like these served as guides, helping people navigate life's complexities by illustrating moral lessons and the consequences of actions. Geometry played a crucial role in these ancient narratives. The sacred geometry found in the pyramids of Egypt or the intricate designs of labyrinths illustrates a deeper connection between the universe and human consciousness. These forms were not purely artistic but carried spiritual significance, believed to resonate with the essence of life itself. The shapes and patterns reflected beliefs about harmony, balance, and the connection between the material and spiritual worlds. When we study these patterns today, we can uncover truths that resonate even in our modern lives, inviting us to reflect on our own paths and purpose. The wisdom woven into mythology and geometry acts as a key to unlock our understanding of oneself. When we engage with these ancient stories and symbols, we begin a journey of reflection and self-discovery. The rituals that accompanied these myths provided a framework for transformation. They often involved rites of passage, encouraging individuals to confront inner fears and aspirations. This process can be replicated in our lives today, as we establish personal rituals that resonate with our values and goals, guiding us toward growth. Consider the daily routines we create. Simple actions, whether lighting a candle, meditating, or journaling, can ground us in the wisdom of the past, connecting us to something greater. These practices remind us to pause, reflect, and align ourselves with our values. Because the ancient symbols still have resonance, we can use them as lenses to view our lives more clearly. Reflecting on these old teachings offers us the chance to unlock insights and pathways that might have remained hidden. In this way, ancient wisdom continues to guide us into profound transformations. As you explore these ancient narratives and practices, ask yourself what symbols or stories resonate with your life today. How can you take inspiration from them? Engaging with these themes can elevate your self-awareness and help you navigate the complexities of modern life, just as they have done for countless generations before you. Symbols as bridges between the conscious and subconscious. Imagine standing before an ancient door carved with strange markings. You don't read the letters, but you sense the doorway holds something beyond ordinary sight. Symbols work much like that door. They are silent gateways, subtly linking the rational, conscious parts of your mind with the deep currents of your subconscious. Unlike everyday language, symbols communicate through feelings, images, and a quiet knowing that words sometimes cannot reach. They are the soft pulse beneath thoughts, hinting at hidden truths waiting to be uncovered. Our waking mind thrives on logic, plans, and tangible realities, yet beneath that surface lies a vast ocean of memories, emotions, and instincts, the subconscious. Symbols glide between these two spaces, connecting what we understand clearly with what simmers quietly below awareness. For example, seeing a key can awaken not just the idea of unlocking a door, but also a feeling of opportunity, mystery, or readiness inside you, even if you haven't consciously thought about those ideas. This connection happens because symbols speak the language of emotion and imagination, allowing the subconscious to send messages to the conscious mind without depending on words or explanations. Throughout history, cultures have used symbols like light, water, or animals to represent complex ideas. Take the lotus flower. On the surface, it's a simple bloom, but in many traditions, it opens the door to deeper themes of purity, awakening, and transformation. When these symbols appear in dreams or moments of insight, they invite you to pass through a mental threshold, encouraging self-reflection or change. As you become more familiar with these silent languages, they begin to feel less like strange signs and more like guiding whispers from within, helping you navigate the unseen currents of your mind. When you start paying attention to symbols deliberately, you start creating a dialogue between your inner conscious and subconscious selves. The simple act of choosing or recognizing a symbol becomes a way to open a channel for your deeper thoughts and emotions to flow into your daily life. For example, wearing a ring with a particular design or keeping an image that resonates nearby can serve as an anchor, reminding you of an inner truth or intention without needing constant verbal reminders. This conscious relationship with symbols changes the way dreams, feelings, and thoughts show up. Rather than being vague or confusing, they become clear signposts on your personal path. You might notice a recurring symbol in your dreams, a bridge, a spiral, a door, and by reflecting on what it means to you, you turn that symbol into a tool for self-mastery. These symbols aren't just passive images, they become active participants, helping you understand emotions or subconscious patterns that otherwise stay hidden. One way to practice this is by keeping a journal where you sketch or describe symbols that appear in your life or thoughts. Over time, patterns emerge, giving you clues about your ongoing inner work. Maybe a crow shows up during moments of change, or a flame appears when you are igniting new passions. Each symbol crafts its own bridge, making the invisible visible and translating inner whispers into clear guidance. This exchange awakens a sense of empowerment, as your inner world and outer reality begin a two-way conversation, rich with meaning and depth. Try this simple practice. When you encounter an image or sign that catches your attention, pause and ask yourself what feelings or memories it stirs. Let your thoughts flow freely without judgment. This small pause can shift a fleeting image into a powerful message from your subconscious. Over time, this practice trains your mind to recognize these bridges more easily, turning everyday moments into gateways for self-discovery and insight. Practice. Choosing a personal symbol of power. Imagine a warrior from centuries ago, clutching a small amulet carved from stone or bone. This wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was a lifeline, a reminder of inner strength and purpose. When danger lurked or doubts crept in, the warrior touched that symbol and found renewed courage. That amulet carried meaning, tradition, and personal resolve, all woven into a single object. Its simplicity belied its power. It wasn't the material that mattered most, but what the warrior assigned to it, a core piece of their identity and resilience. Today, we often overlook how deeply a small object or symbol can ground us in our sense of strength. Choosing something that resonates on a personal level can serve as a touchstone throughout life's unpredictable moments. To do this, start by asking yourself what makes you feel grounded, courageous, or capable. It could be a physical object like a ring or a bracelet, or something more abstract, like a symbol, a phrase, or even a color. Consider what embodies your inner strength or your dreams. Remember, this symbol isn't about impressing others. It's about anchoring yourself in what truly matters to you. Now, to find that symbol, try a simple exercise. Find a quiet moment, free from noise and distraction. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Think about a time when you felt truly powerful or confident. What was happening? What did you see, hear, or feel? Let your mind wander to imagery that makes you feel safe, strong, or inspired. When something stands out, perhaps a flower, a mountain, a star, or a simple shape, gently focus on it. Visualize this symbol in your mind's eye, imagining it as a part of you, a radiant core of your being. Keep this image for a few moments and notice how it makes you feel. This internal connection can guide you toward an external symbol that embodies your personal power. Once you've identified an image or idea that resonates, find a way to carry it with you. It might be a small physical object, a color in your wardrobe, or a phrase that captures its essence. The point is not perfection but connection. Each day, glance at your symbol and let it remind you of your strength and purpose. Over time, this simple act reinforces your inner voice and adds a layer of quiet confidence to your life. Remember, the real power of a symbol lies not in its material form but in what it awakens within you, a steady reminder of your capacity to face whatever comes your way. 10. The number 33. Its presence across traditions, spinal vertebrae, Christ's age, Masonic degrees, numerology. The number 33 has a profound presence across various spiritual traditions and practices, embodying a unique blend of symbolism and deep meaning. In many cultures, 33 is regarded as a master number, often linked to elevated states of consciousness and spiritual insight. Take, for example, the number of vertebrae in the human spine, which totals 33. Each vertebra holds the potential for physical and spiritual alignment. The spine, a crucial support system, serves as a reminder of our connection to the earth and the cosmos. As we move through life, understanding this alignment can guide our spiritual evolution, allowing us to integrate our physical existence with higher consciousness. This number also finds resonance in the life of Jesus Christ, who is believed to have been crucified at the age of 33. His life stages, filled with teachings about love, compassion, and sacrifice, continue to inspire millions even today. The age itself has become iconic, representing both the peak of human potential and the journey toward higher spiritual truths. Just as Christ's life demonstrates the balance of earthly experiences with divine purpose, the number 33 invites us to reflect on our paths and the wisdom we glean from them, igniting the spark of spiritual awakening within us. In numerology, the significance of 33 extends even further. Often referred to as the master teacher, it emphasizes the importance of spreading knowledge and serving others. Those who resonate with this number may find themselves naturally inclined to inspire and uplift others, acting as guides on their journeys. The number's recurring presence serves as a reminder of our interconnectedness, the ripple effect of our actions, and the impact of our words and choices on the collective human experience. By embracing these ideals, we open ourselves to a more profound understanding of our existence and our purpose here. As you navigate your daily life, consider reflecting on the number 33. Notice how its themes of mastery, alignment, and spiritual truth might be manifesting in your own experiences. A practical exercise could involve journaling about your aspirations and comparing them against these ideals. By focusing on how you can embody the qualities associated with 33, you initiate a personal journey toward growth and self-realization. Why 33 symbolizes completion, mastery, and rebirth. Imagine walking through a silent forest at dusk, each step bringing you closer to a hidden clearing that invites renewal. The soft crunch of leaves beneath your feet slows as you approach this secret space where light filters gently through the branches, signaling an end and a beginning all at once. This clearing is not just a place but a moment in time, where the journey reaches its peak and transformation begins. That's the essence of the number 33, a powerful symbol marking the threshold of completion and rebirth. It feels like standing on a bridge between what has been and what is possible, sensing that everything is about to shift into a higher form of understanding and presence. In ancient teachings, 33 embodies the journey of mastery, where each layer of understanding unfolds like petals on a lotus, revealing subtle changes that occurred deep within. The number echoes through history as a marker of spiritual maturity and inner alchemy, showing how challenges and lessons are not obstacles but catalysts. Just as the lotus rises through murky waters toward the sun, the pathway represented by 33 involves moving through trials to reach clarity and wisdom. This process is about more than surface-level growth. It speaks to a profound transformation within, where the ego's grip loosens and a greater sense of harmony emerges. To grasp why 33 carries such weight, consider how it sits at the meeting point of two powerful threes. The number 3 alone often symbolizes creativity, growth, and expression. Doubling it into 33 intensifies these qualities, adding layers of responsibility and insight. It's no surprise that in many spiritual traditions, 33 is associated with figures who embody enlightenment and compassion. The number resonates with mastery not in the sense of control over others, but mastery over self and the cycles of change. It invites a fearless embrace of endings as necessary gateways to new beginnings, making 33 a natural symbol of rebirth. This idea of rebirth connected to 33 is like pressing a reset button that doesn't erase what came before, but instead integrates experience into something richer. Like the phases of the moon, completion here is cyclical. It means reaching a summit only to prepare for the next ascent. This perspective can bring comfort when one faces tough transitions or moments of uncertainty. Instead of resisting change, the number 33 encourages a welcoming of transformation as part of a larger, meaningful rhythm at play within life. It reminds us that mastery is not a static achievement but an ongoing dance between learning and renewal. When you feel drawn to the number 33, it may reflect a call to recognize where your own journeys of growth and completion lie. Reflecting on moments when challenges pushed you to the edge but also opened a door into new understanding can reveal the quiet power of this number at work. It teaches patience with the process and faith that every ending carries the seed of new life. Simple practices like journaling about cycles in your life or setting an intention to release what no longer serves can help make this concept tangible. In doing so, you begin to embody the wisdom of 33, not just as a symbol, but as a living guide. Reflection. What completion means in your life now? Life moves like the ebb and flow of a river, constantly shifting, never truly stopping. What once felt like a finish line now often reveals itself as a mere waypoint, a moment to see where you've come from and where you're headed. Completion isn't just about crossing something off a list or reaching a specific goal. It's about a sense of peace that settles in when you recognize that certain chapters are closing naturally, without force. Sometimes, what gives the deepest sense of closure isn't a grand achievement but quiet acceptance, the understanding that some stories are meant to end gently, leaving space for new beginnings. Beyond the superficial notions of success, true completion touches more personal and subtle parts of life. It's intertwined with growth, lessons learned, and the awareness that nothing is ever truly finished but rather continuously unfolding. When you pause to reflect, you see how each season, each challenge, and each victory molds your understanding of what it means to be truly complete. It's an ongoing dance between letting go of what no longer serves and embracing what has been gained in that process. This realization allows life to feel less like a chase and more like a journey, where each step holds its own form of fulfillment, no matter what the ending looks like. In understanding this, it's helpful to think of completion not as a final destination but as a certain harmony within yourself. It's the quiet warmth that comes from recognizing your efforts, acknowledging your wounds, and choosing to move forward without unresolved anchors. Sometimes, it's about finding peace in the in-between moments, where life isn't rushing but simply existing. When you learn to honor these spaces, you develop a more honest relationship with your own journey, seeing victories in small shifts and accepting the natural flow of beginnings and endings. In your current life, what does completion look like? Maybe it's a chapter in your relationships that has quietly closed, or a personal truth you've come to accept. Perhaps it's a project you finally release with gratitude, knowing it served its purpose. Regardless of what it is, embracing a broader view of what done really means can lift a weight you might not have realized you were carrying. Recognize that completion isn't a final act but a gentle acknowledgement that a piece of your story has found its rightful place, paving the way for what's next to emerge. Take a moment now to consider which parts of your life still carry unfinished echoes. Sometimes, simply naming these spaces grants them peace. Other times, offering a soft farewell, knowing you've learned what there was to learn, creates a new openness. It's not about pushing away what remains. It's about seeing how all parts of your experience fit together. As you settle into this understanding, you realize that the most profound completions are often quiet, holding a deep resonance that continues to guide you long after the moment has passed. Making peace with what completes in your life today can become a daily act of awareness. Instead of waiting for a grand ending, notice the small closures, an unresolved thought finally releasing its grip or a hesitant feeling finally settling into acceptance. These are the true markers of progress. Over time, this practice turns into a gentle conversation with yourself about what you're holding on to and what you're willing to let go. In doing so, you begin to see that completion isn't a point you reach but a state you inhabit, grounded in honesty, rooted in growth, and open to what life offers next. To stay connected to this truth, create a simple daily ritual. It might be a quiet moment of reflection at the end of each day or a weekly check-in with yourself. Ask questions like, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Or where can I find peace in my ongoing story? Let these questions serve as keys, unlocking pieces of your inner world that need tending. Over time, this ongoing practice becomes an effortless way to recognize completion in its many forms, helping you live with less clutter and more clarity amidst the constant flow of life. 11. The geometry of spirit. Sacred geometry as the DNA of creation. The universe can be seen as a vast, intricate clockwork, where every gear and wheel is crafted with precise harmony. This is the world of sacred geometry, a foundational blueprint woven into the fabric of all creation. Sacred geometry consists of shapes, patterns, and proportions that resonate throughout nature and our daily surroundings. From the spiraling shells on a beach to the branches of a tree, these geometric shapes reveal a hidden order that connects everything to the universe. It's not just about lines and angles, it's about understanding the very essence of existence. When we look closely, we can see these patterns everywhere. Think about the architecture around you. Ancient structures like the Great Pyramid of Giza or the Parthenon were built not only for practical purposes but also to reflect cosmic principles through their shapes and alignments. Similarly, nature has its own sacred designs. The arrangement of leaves on a stem, the geometric pattern of a snowflake, or the spirals of galaxies all echo the same universal truths. Each shape has a story to tell, revealing the harmony that exists beneath the chaos of daily life. By understanding sacred geometry as the DNA of existence, we begin to uncover the hidden symmetries that guide life's unfolding. It's like discovering a divine code that connects our inner worlds with the cosmos beyond. Every shape holds a unique vibration that resonates with our own energy and spirit. For example, The circle symbolizes unity and wholeness, while the triangle often represents balance and stability. These symbols can evoke feelings and insights that guide our thoughts and actions. In daily life, applying the principles of sacred geometry can transform the way we perceive our environment. Think about your living space. Are there chaotic elements that disrupt a sense of peace? Rearranging items to align with harmonious geometric shapes can create a more tranquil atmosphere. You might consider using circular objects for unity or triangular forms for strength when designing a space or choosing your decor. Engaging with these forms can be as simple as drawing or meditating on them. Take a moment to sketch a mandala or visualize the flower of life. These practices invite clarity and intention into your day-to-day life. As you reflect on the shapes and patterns that resonate with you, you might begin to feel a shift, lessening stress, increasing focus, and fostering creativity. Regularly reconnecting with these sacred designs grounds us, reminding us of the beauty and balance inherent in our surroundings. Pay attention to moments of inspiration that arise when you interact with these patterns. Even daily tasks can become opportunities for reflection, allowing you to move through life with greater awareness. As you weave together the threads of experience and geometry, you create a rich tapestry of understanding that empowers you to navigate the world with ease and grace. The flower of life, Metatron's cube, and initiation through form. Imagine walking through a garden just as the sun begins to rise. The air feels cool and fresh, and the world seems to hold its breath in that quiet moment before the day unfolds. Each flower, leaf, and shadow holds a delicate balance, arranged not as random chance but with a rhythm that speaks to something deeper. These patterns, the looping petals on a rose, the spiral unfurling of a fern, the way light flickers through the branches, reflect a hidden order that feels almost sacred. It's as though the garden itself is a living map, coded with the same shapes and structures that build the vast universe. Walking slowly, you notice how each form overlaps with the next, suggesting a design that is intentional and profound. The flowers aren't simply there for beauty, they echo something fundamental, a geometry that exists beyond what our eyes can immediately see. There is a silent language in the arrangement of elements, teaching without words, showing how life itself grows from simple building blocks arranged in precise patterns. In this quiet dawn walk, the garden becomes a gateway, not just a physical space but a metaphor for the inner journey. The forms you witness invite a kind of initiation, a process where the viewer begins to recognize how the world is made not by chaos alone, but through sacred, repeating designs. This awakening to the patterns invites a deeper understanding, a call to walk through life with eyes that see beyond surface appearances. The flower of life is one of these sacred designs, a pattern made up of evenly spaced, overlapping circles that create an image resembling a blossoming flower. When seen as a whole, it forms what looks like a vast network of interconnected seeds. This image has appeared across many cultures, carried through centuries as a symbol of the interconnectedness of all existence. It's not just a pretty picture. This pattern holds mathematical relationships and proportions that reveal the hidden order beneath reality's surface. From this pattern, another form called Metatron's cube can be drawn. It's a complex, three-dimensional figure made of lines connecting the centers of these circles, revealing shapes like the Platonic solids, geometric forms that are considered the building blocks of all matter. Metatron's cube is often viewed as a cosmic blueprint, showing how everything from atoms to planets fits together in an intricate dance of structure and balance. Many see this image as a sacred key, a way to unlock dimensions of understanding about creation and our place within it. But these shapes aren't just abstract symbols, they serve as portals. Gazing upon the flower of life or tracing the lines of Metatron's cube can be a form of initiation, guiding the mind toward new states of awareness. They remind us that form is a doorway to spirit, that by studying shape and pattern, we can begin to grasp the invisible forces shaping the cosmos. This initiation through form invites a subtle transformation of perception, a rising up from seeing fragmentation to witnessing wholeness, where all things connect in a silent harmony. Think of it like unlocking a code embedded in the very fabric of nature. When you begin to recognize these patterns, it's as if a veil lifts, revealing a world where geometry and spirit are intertwined. This recognition can feel like stepping through a threshold, moving from ordinary sight into a deeper knowing. The curiosity about these sacred forms crescendos into a quiet understanding that shapes not only our external world but also the internal architecture of our consciousness. The underlying teaching in these sacred patterns is that form shapes experience, and by engaging with these forms intentionally, you participate in your own inner awakening. When you trace or meditate on the flower of life, it becomes a practice of tuning your awareness to the rhythm of creation itself. This can open pathways for intuitive insight, grounding scattered thoughts, and bringing a sense of coherence to your own personal growth. It suggests that initiation is not just about learning facts or doctrines, but about entering into a living relationship with the patterns that sustain all life. Try this simple practice. Spend a few minutes gazing softly at a depiction of the flower of life. Let your eyes move gently over the interlocking circles without forcing the mind to analyze. Notice how the pattern feels, whether it brings a sense of calm, curiosity, or fascination. Then, close your eyes and imagine the pattern expanding within your mind, filling your field of vision. Allow yourself to sense the connection between the circles as if you were part of that web. This small exercise can help you align with the flow of life's geometry and invite moments of stillness and clarity amid the noise of daily life. Walking through the garden at dawn and contemplating these sacred forms is an invitation to see the world differently, to recognize that beneath the apparent chaos, there is a secret order waiting to be known. As you practice seeing form as initiation, you cultivate a steadiness that nourishes both your spirit and your mind. In this way, the ancient wisdom encoded in the flower of life and Metatron's cube becomes a living tool, a map that guides you back home to the harmony that is always present, just beyond the surface of things. Next time you feel overwhelmed or disconnected, returning to these patterns can create a moment of refuge and renewal. Remember that initiation through form is accessible anytime simply by noticing the sacred geometry woven throughout nature and the world around you. The simple act of recognizing these shapes invites a deeper understanding, one that can shift how you move through life, helping you to see with eyes that recognize the universe as an unfolding story of connection and meaning. Exercise. Meditating on a geometric pattern. Imagine walking into an old temple, where carved stone symbols seem to whisper silent stories. Among these symbols, simple shapes like circles, triangles, or stars draw your eye. These patterns aren't just decorations, they serve as gateways to the inner world. Pick a shape that catches your eye, perhaps a circle that feels endless or a star that hints at mystery. Use it as a mirror, a reflection, a symbol that will help you look inward. Let your focus settle on this shape, noticing how it feels in your mind and body as the center of your attention. When choosing a pattern, simplicity often invites the deepest connection. Think about a single line or a basic form, nothing too complex or busy. A circle can symbolize wholeness, a star brings a sense of wonder, and a triangle can stand for balance. These shapes have been used for thousands of years in art, architecture, and spiritual practice because they carry universal meaning. Trust your intuition in selecting one. Sometimes, the shape that draws your eye during the day will be the best focus for meditation, your subconscious signaling its familiarity and comfort. The reason these simple symbols work is rooted in their geometric harmony. They reflect natural structures, cells, ripples in water, or the stars in the night sky, and remind us of the universe's underlying order. As you choose your pattern, notice if certain shapes evoke feelings or thoughts. This connection isn't just visual, it's energetic. Your choice becomes a symbol, a key that opens deeper layers of awareness. It's less about the shape itself and more about what it awakens within you, waiting to be uncovered with patience and curiosity. Next time you're out or flipping through photos online, notice recurring shapes, circles on wheels, triangles on rooftops, stars in logos. These daily encounters subtly reinforce the patterns you choose as your focus. When you bring awareness to this, your mind begins to recognize the shape beyond its physical form. It starts to become a mental anchor, one that guides your attention gently inward, anchoring you amid the noise of modern life. Once your focus settles on your chosen pattern, the next step is to keep your eyes softly fixed on it. There's no need to stare hard or strain your eyes, just a gentle, steady gaze. Picture yourself sitting quietly, eyes relaxed and observing the shape as if you're discovering it for the first time. As your eyes stay on the pattern, your mind begins to quiet down. The chatter and distraction that usually fill your thoughts momentarily fade. The shape acts like a tiny island of calm in a sea of noise, inviting you to sink into a state of quiet awareness. As the minutes pass, you might notice your gaze naturally wandering or your thoughts drifting away. That's okay. When this happens, gently bring your attention back to the shape without judgment. Think of it as returning to a peaceful anchor instead of forcing your focus. Over time, this steady gaze begins to loosen the grip of mental clutter, revealing a space of stillness beneath the surface. The shape becomes more than just a visual. It turns into a focal point that holds your awareness, allowing your mind to settle naturally into silence. This practice isn't about achieving an empty mind nor about making your thoughts vanish. Instead, it's about allowing your attention to stay present with gentle persistence. Each moment you return your gaze when it wanders is a small act of love for your inner world. You're creating a bridge, linking the outward, visual focus to the inner, quiet space within. As you do this regularly, you might find that the shape starts to carry a feeling of calm that persists long after your eyes leave it, a quiet reminder of the stillness that's always there beneath the surface of busy thoughts. Remember, this process is simple but powerful. The key is consistency, each day dedicating just a few moments to gaze mindfully. Over time, your focus will strengthen, and the pattern you hold in front of your eyes will become a symbol of your inner landscape, a visual note that guides you back to calm whenever life feels hectic. Whether you practice in a quiet corner or during a walk outside, this simple exercise can serve as a steady compass, guiding you through waves of distraction into moments of clear, peaceful presence. 12. The Great Initiations. 3 timeless stages. Ignorance, awakening, mastery. The journey from ignorance to awakening is like a birth, where new awareness slowly comes to light. Picture a young child, who when first seeing the stars, asks questions filled with wonder. Each question is a step toward deeper understanding. In the beginning, many of us move through life without realizing the wealth of knowledge and insight within us. This ignorance isn't wrong. It's simply part of the human experience. Curiosity starts to bubble up when we encounter something that stirs our inner thoughts, a book, a conversation, or even a spontaneous moment in nature. These moments act as keys that unlock doors to hidden truths, setting us on a path of awakening. Why each stage repeats across life. Think of it as walking through a familiar garden where each time you visit, certain flowers bloom again, sometimes vibrant, sometimes faded, and with them, memories and insights resurface. These echoes are not mere repetitions but invitations to look deeper, to understand ourselves more fully. The patterns we encounter seem familiar, almost like old friends, yet every time they return, they bring something new for us to learn or heal. When we face a challenge in youth, we might believe we understand it fully, but as we grow older, the same challenge appears with new colors and shapes. It's as if life is asking us to approach it from a different angle, with more knowledge, patience, or courage than before. This repetition is not a mistake or a glitch, it's the rhythm of growth itself. The universe seems to have set a gentle yet firm tempo, ensuring we revisit certain lessons not once, but many times, until their meaning sinks in deeply. It's like peeling an onion, where each layer looks similar but offers a slightly different taste, a subtle shift in scent. We might pass through the same stage of confusion, fear, or hope multiple times, but each passage is a chance to become a little more aware, a little more ourselves. Just as an artist returns to the same sketch to add detail and nuance, life invites us back to the same themes to deepen our understanding and practice. This layered returning also signals that maturity isn't about rushing to finish a story but learning to live all its chapters with growing wisdom. A child learning to walk stumbles many times before steadying. A wise elder who has walked for decades still navigates new paths with care and curiosity. At every turn, the stages repeat not to trap us in endless loops but to provide opportunities for refinement, for healing old wounds, and for awakening parts of ourselves that were unseen before. With each cycle, we gain access to a richer level of insight, patience, and compassion for ourselves and the world. When we understand this pattern, it changes how we meet life's challenges. Instead of frustration, there's a quiet acceptance, knowing that what feels familiar is also a chance for deeper transformation. We start to see our life as a spiral, circling back while moving upward, rather than a straight line with a fixed end. This spiral invites us to trust the process, to welcome each stage as a new doorway rather than a barrier, and to recognize that growth is as much about returning as it is about moving forward. A simple exercise to connect with these recurring stages is to reflect on moments when you've faced similar emotions or challenges at different times in your life. Notice what has changed and what has stayed the same. Write or think about how you used to react and how you might respond now. This awareness can be like finding a hidden key that unlocks your next step, reminding you that each return to a stage is an opportunity to move closer to your true self. Exercise. Identify which initiation you're in right now. Imagine your life as a winding path through a vast wilderness. Sometimes, the trail feels familiar and clear, while other times, it twists into unknown territory. Each twist or turn represents a different phase of your personal journey, a step toward deeper understanding or growth. When you pause and look closely, you notice that the obstacles you face are not just random challenges, but essential landmarks that mark your progress. Some moments are like doors you need to decide whether to open, revealing new parts of yourself or new lessons. Reflecting on where you are now involves noticing the signs, feelings, and circumstances that suggest which part of your unfolding journey you are in. Think of this process as identifying a key, a door, or a light that guides your current step. Are you facing a barrier that feels like a locked door? Perhaps it's a challenge demanding you find a new key or perspective. Or maybe there's a faint glow ahead, calling you toward clarity or insight. Recognizing your current initiation involves observing what stands out. Are you feeling tested, waiting in uncertainty, or experiencing breakthroughs? These signs act as signals, helping you see which threshold you're nearing or crossing. It's as if life gently whispers, "This is the stage you're at right now," if you listen carefully enough. The more aware you become of these signs, the clearer it is to map out your personal map of growth. Sometimes, finding your place in this journey means paying attention to your inner voice and body. You might notice feelings of resistance, excitement, or confusion, each pointing to different stages of development. For example, if you're feeling a sense of impatience or frustration, it might mean you're in a phase of trying to break free from old patterns. If, on the other hand, you're sensing calm and readiness, you could be approaching a new beginning, poised at a threshold of transformation. Recognizing these clues requires honesty and quiet reflection. One way to do this is to ask yourself, what emotions do I notice most strongly today? Am I seeking answers or simply trying to understand what I'm experiencing? These questions can help illuminate your current place in the ongoing dance of life's initiations. 13. The Law of Transmutation. Ancient alchemy wasn't about gold, it was about spirit. Picture an ancient workshop illuminated by flickering candlelight, where a figure hunched over a bubbling alembic isn't just seeking gold but unlocking the mysteries of the soul. This alchemist, with hands stained from minerals and oils, understands something deeper than mere material wealth. Their quest is not only to change lead into gold but to transform ignorance into wisdom and despair into enlightenment. The true heart of alchemy lies in this metaphorical transmutation. Instead of being consumed by the never-ending pursuit of material gain, the alchemist embarks on a sacred journey towards personal evolution. Ancient texts like the Emerald Tablet hint at this hidden meaning, filled with cryptic symbols and layered phrases that call for introspection and awakening. Alchemy serves as a bridge not just to riches, but to the elevated state of being where one learns the essence of life itself. To create the Philosopher's Stone, a legendary figure in alchemical lore, is less about a physical object and more about achieving a profound understanding of our internal landscapes. This realization brings about personal change, allowing us to sift through the chaos of our daily lives and find the gold of knowledge and insight buried within. Reflect for a moment on your own life. Each challenge you face is akin to the alchemical process. When uncomfortably stuck in your job, a relationship that seems stagnant, or an inner turmoil that feels insurmountable, those situations mirror the raw materials the alchemist begins with. Instead of viewing them as burdens, imagine them as essential components on your path toward mastery. Understanding this ancient practice allows you to see your struggles not just as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, a chance to take something leaden in your life and turn it into something golden. You might find power in daily practices that echo the ancient understanding of alchemy. Start by keeping a journal to document your fears and frustrations. When you write down these feelings, they become tangible, and the act of articulating struggles paves the way for clarity. Through reflection, the insights gained can catalyze significant transformations, gradually turning each ounce of pain into wisdom. Imagine walking through your day with an empowered perspective, where every hiccup becomes a moment of learning, every disagreement leads to understanding, and every disappointment transforms into resilience. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but through consistent practice and an open heart. As you walk this path, keep in mind the profound insight that each moment holds the potential for alchemical transformation. Envision becoming the master of your inner workshop, where every thought, feeling, and encounter serves as a guiding element in your personal evolution. Turning inward becomes the greatest catalyst, propelling you forward into a life steeped in purpose and significance. Incorporate simple rituals into your life that resonate with this practice. Light a candle while you meditate or take a quiet walk in nature, reflecting on what you wish to transform within. These small acts serve as moments to tune into your inner alchemist, reminding you that life's most profound riches often lie buried beneath the surface. The key is to remain open and curious about the lessons that await you in each experience, cherishing them as the sacred materials from which to craft your own philosopher's stone. How to turn pain into power, fear into wisdom. Picture yourself standing before a blazing forge, the heat intense and relentless. In this moment, the raw metal before you is no ordinary piece of iron. It represents your pain and fear. These feelings aren't meant to destroy you, but to be shaped and honed into something powerful, like a blade forged in fire. The heat is fierce, uncomfortable, and even frightening, yet it is necessary to soften the metal, making it malleable and ready for transformation. This forge is your mind and your spirit, where intention and awareness act as the hammer and anvil, guiding the shape of what emerges. What seems like suffering at first holds a secret, a hidden strength waiting to be uncovered through patience and mindful effort. Often, we avoid pain and fear as if they are enemies, threats we must escape or erase. Yet, these very emotions are signposts, indicators of what truly matters and where growth can happen. Pain breaks down what is old, making space for new understanding. Fear points toward the unknown, the threshold of learning and discovery. When you learn to step close to this fire without flinching, without turning away, you begin the sacred work of transformation. The blaze that once threatened to burn you now warms you, shapes you, and reveals depths you didn't know you had. This is not about ignoring your hurt or pushing down your fear, but about meeting them with a steady gaze, inviting them to teach you rather than control you. There is an ancient wisdom beneath this idea. The metalsmith does not rush the process, nor does he waste the fire's energy. The same applies to your inner work. You must tend your emotional forge with care, allowing the heat of pain to soften your defenses and the pressure of fear to sharpen your focus. What emerges is a resilience forged not in avoidance but in courageous presence. Your scars become markings of survival, like the unique texture of hammered metal. These marks tell a story of endurance and mastery, hidden beneath what once appeared as weakness or defeat. To transform pain into power, you must first recognize that your emotional responses are tools, not prisons. They supply raw material for your inner craftsmanship. This alchemy begins with conscious intention, the decision to not be ruled by suffering but to work with it actively. When pain arises, allow yourself to observe it, not merely react. What messages does it carry? Sometimes pain demands attention to injustice or signals boundaries that need protecting. Sometimes it reveals unmet needs or unresolved wounds from the past. Each insight gained is a shard of wisdom, breaking apart the old patterns that held you captive. Fear, too, is not mere danger screaming inside your head. It can become a form of inner clarity, an early warning system that points toward growth edges. When confronted with fear, slow down and investigate its shape. What exactly triggers it, how your body reacts, and what thoughts accompany it. This practice turns fear from a shadow lurking in the dark into a guide lighting your path. It teaches you to distinguish real threats from imagined ones, sharpening your ability to respond rather than react. Over time, you learn to use fear as a compass, helping you move forward with greater confidence instead of freezing where you stand. This inner work is like a daily ritual, a practice of turning raw energy into skill. You become a craftsman not only of metal but of yourself, shaping your character through repeated acts of attention and choice. This can be as simple as pausing to breathe deeply when unease rises, sitting with discomfort without distraction, or journaling your fears and pains to understand their roots. Each act of mindful engagement helps dissolve the power that pain and fear once had over you. In their place, you build a steady, clear center that can hold both light and shadow with equal calm. When this process becomes part of your life, you step through a hidden doorway. You move from being a passenger to becoming the driver of your inner world. The fiery emotions that once threatened to consume you become sources of insight and strength. With this approach, emotional experiences lose their random cruelty and become meaningful material for growth. You begin to see suffering as a teacher and fear as a signal rather than a sentence. Start by recognizing moments when pain or fear arise, not to push them away but to welcome their presence with gentle curiosity. Instead of labeling them as bad or fearful emotions, consider them messengers carrying pieces of yourself you may have been avoiding. Next, find a quiet moment each day to focus on your breath, allowing the body's tension to soften. This simple step helps anchor you in the present, where fear loses some of its grip and pain becomes less overwhelming. Once grounded, gently explore what the emotions are telling you. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? What might this be inviting me to acknowledge or change? Another way to engage is through storytelling. Write or speak about your experiences, recounting not only the pain but the small moments of strength that appeared despite it. This practice externalizes internal struggle, allowing you to see your journey from a different angle. Over time, you'll notice patterns and hidden gifts woven into your story, threads of resilience and courage that you might have missed before. This helps rebuild your sense of self from a place of mastery rather than victimhood. Finally, remember that transformation is rarely instant. Like the metalsmith steadily shaping his creation, you will need patience and repeated practice. Progress often comes in small shifts rather than dramatic turns, so honor your timeline. With each encounter of pain and fear, you deepen your understanding and strengthen your ability to choose response over reaction. Through this persistent inner work, you reclaim your power and transform fear into clear, guiding wisdom. Exercise. Write your current lead and how you'll alchemize it. Imagine walking through a crowded city street in the early morning. Phones beep, screens flash brighter than the sun, and everyone seems caught in a race toward something just out of sight. Amidst this chaos, perhaps you feel weighed down by a thought, a recurring doubt, or a pattern that keeps pulling you back. That heavy feeling, the persistent lead, might be a loss of confidence, a fear of failure, or even a sense of stagnation. Recognizing this weight is the first step. It's like holding a stone in your hand, feeling its shape and weight, understanding it's part of you but not necessarily yours to carry forever. By naming what burdens you, you start to trace its roots. Is it a story from childhood, an old regret, or a recent disappointment? Maybe it's a misconception you've accepted about yourself, reinforced by the world's noise. Sifting through these layers isn't always easy. It feels like peeling an onion, each layer revealing more truth but sometimes bringing tears. Still, the act of identifying is powerful. It transforms an amorphous heaviness into something concrete, something you can begin to understand and, eventually, to change. This is where the roots take hold. All emotional heaviness has origins: anger, fear, frustration, or shame because of past experiences or unmet expectations. Maybe your mind is stuck replaying a moment where you felt dismissed or unworthy, and that belief continues to echo, shaping your present. Sometimes, these roots sprout from societal labels or family patterns passed down through generations. Other times, they stem from your own stories about who you are or what you can achieve. To truly understand your lead, you must look beneath the surface. Pay attention to the times you feel the most drained or stuck. Notice the recurring thoughts that seem to trap you. The roots are often hidden in plain sight, but revealing them requires honest reflection. When you dare to acknowledge where it all began, you gain a clearer picture of what needs healing, what stories need rewriting, and what parts of yourself might still be waiting to be seen and accepted. This process is akin to finding a key buried in the dirt. You start to unlock the door to deeper understanding and, ultimately, to freeing yourself from what no longer serves. Once you've identified that heaviness and traced its roots, the next step is to turn that burden into something worth more. Think of alchemy, an ancient practice where ordinary metals were transformed into gold. The same principle applies here. Your challenge, the weight you carry, can be transmuted by shifting how you see it. Instead of viewing your lead as a failure or a flaw, see it as a teacher, a signpost pointing toward growth. This act of inner work requires deliberate attention. Start by holding your challenge with compassion, acknowledging that it's not an enemy but a part of your journey. Reflect on what this heaviness might have been protecting you from or what lesson it hides. Often, it reveals blocks in your beliefs or unseen fears. By choosing to see your pain or limitation as a catalyst rather than a curse, you transform it. Reframe your story around this lead. See it as raw material, waiting to be shaped into something stronger and more resilient. This process might involve journaling, meditation, or quiet contemplation, asking yourself what strength lurks within your struggle. Over time, you may notice shifts, new insights, renewed confidence, or a fresh sense of purpose arising from what once felt like a dead end. It isn't about denying the pain, but about using it as fuel for your inner fire, turning mundane lead into shining gold. The most powerful alchemy happens when you accept that transformation is not about erasing the past, but about reshaping your relationship with it. Imagine holding a heavy stone, then somehow molding it into a piece of art or jewelry. That's what doing inner work on your lead looks like. It's a deliberate act, reclaiming parts of yourself that felt lost or broken and choosing to see them as parts of your unique composition. Start small, maybe by writing down your challenge and listing all the ways it has shaped your strength. Practice compassion and curiosity, not judgment. Over time, you'll begin to notice that this lead isn't so heavy anymore. Instead, it gleams with new meaning, holding within it the secret of your resilience and potential for growth. That's how ancient arts like alchemy mirror your inner transformation, reminding you that even the darkest metals can be turned into treasures when handled with awareness and intent. 14. The role of suffering. Every initiate faces the trial of pain. Suffering is intertwined with the human experience. Many ancient cultures viewed pain as a rite of passage, a necessary trial that reveals deeper truths about ourselves. Think of the story of the phoenix rising from the ashes. This mythical bird does not just soar, it transforms through the flames, illustrating how suffering can lead to profound rebirth. In this light, pain is not merely a burden but a vital aspect of growth. Just as a tree must weather storms to grow strong, so too must we face adversity to unearth our inner strength. Embracing pain as a transformative force involves adopting mindful practices that allow us to connect with our inner experiences. One effective method is journaling. Writing about our emotions can provide clarity, making it easier to understand our struggles. Set aside a few minutes each day to explore your thoughts and feelings on paper. Consider what lessons your pain is trying to teach you. What can you learn from these struggles? This practice can help you find deeper meaning in your experiences, shifting your focus from suffering to growth. Another practice is meditation. Taking time to sit in quiet reflection can illuminate the purpose of your pain. It allows you to sit with your feelings, acknowledging them without judgment. You can visualize the pain as a wave, coming and going. Rather than pushing it away, sit with it briefly and allow it to wash over you. This process often unveils clarity and strength that can help you navigate future challenges. Remember that every trial is an opportunity for growth. When you view pain this way, it transforms from something to be feared into a teacher, guiding you towards self-discovery and resilience. Each evening, try reflecting on your day. Ask yourself, what painful moment did I experience? How did it change me? This nightly exercise sets the stage for deeper understanding over time. The more you practice these reflective techniques, the more insights you'll gain, leading to empowerment. Embracing pain is not about glorifying suffering. It's about recognizing the wisdom hidden beneath it. With each step, you inch closer to unlocking your true self and discovering the strength that lies within. Suffering as the great awakener, not punishment. Imagine walking through a dense forest where the trees block all sunlight. Suddenly, a clearing appears, and the warm light spills over your face, revealing the path forward. Often, suffering acts like that unexpected clearing. At first, it feels like an unwanted intruder, sharp, confusing, even cruel. But beneath the surface, suffering is not a punishment handed down for mistakes or wrongdoings. Instead, it carries a hidden purpose, to wake us up from the fog of distraction and complacency that veils the deeper truths of life. It cracks open the shell we hide behind, forcing us to confront what we normally avoid, the fragility of existence, the limits of control, and the rawness of our own emotions. Across cultures and centuries, resilience born from hardship has been recognized as a secret passage to wisdom. Ancient stories often show heroes who must endure great trials before they can claim their true power or insight. These stories hint at a profound shift, suffering breaks open our narrow view of reality and immerses us in a wider understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. When the noise of daily life grows too loud, endless scrolling through social feeds, rushing from one task to another, suffering acts like a sudden silence that commands attention. It cuts through the superficial distractions that keep us from seeing what really matters. Instead of punishing us, suffering serves as a sacred alarm clock, waking us to a deeper consciousness quietly waiting beneath the surface of our pain. Recognizing suffering as an awakening force changes how we relate to it. When we stop seeing pain as simply bad or unfair, we open a door to learning and growth. This perspective doesn't minimize the difficulty or intensity of suffering. Far from it. It acknowledges the heartache while inviting us to discover what lessons the experience holds. Suffering encourages a kind of inner excavation, where we uncover hidden fears, attachments, or beliefs that no longer serve us. Through this process, we may find clarity about what genuinely matters and the strength to move beyond old patterns. The transformation is quiet but profound, often revealing resilience and compassion we never realized we had. When viewed as a catalyst for awakening, suffering becomes a guide rather than an enemy. It invites us to pause and reflect, to ask who we are beneath our pain and what we might become through it. This shift turns suffering into an entry point for self-discovery rather than a sentence to endure. It reveals the cracks in our armor and exposes vulnerabilities, which paradoxically makes us stronger. Embracing this can lead to a deeper sense of freedom. Freedom from illusion, from the need to control everything, and from the false comfort of avoidance. The pain that once seemed like a curse can emerge as a kind of initiation into a fuller, richer experience of life with all its beauty and sorrow intertwined. Try this. When suffering touches your life, instead of pushing it away or labeling it as a punishment, gently invite curiosity. Ask yourself quietly, what is this state trying to show me? Let your awareness settle into the feeling without rushing to fix it. Notice what thoughts or stories arise about yourself or the situation. You might sense new insights about your strengths, what you value most, or how to move forward with greater authenticity. This simple act of mindful presence shifts suffering from an obstacle blocking your path to a messenger illuminating the way. The clearing in the forest appears once again, not as a random mercy, but as a doorway opened by your willingness to meet the darkness and discover your own inner light. Reflection. How past suffering initiated you. Imagine holding a raw, jagged stone in your hand. It's far from beautiful, and it feels rough against your skin. Over time, with patience and effort, that stone can be polished into something shining and smooth. Suffering acts much like that rough stone. By itself, it's harsh and unrefined, but through our struggles and pain, it begins to shape us. Sometimes, it feels like life is hammering us repeatedly, creating dents and cracks. Yet, those very cracks hold the stories of survival and lessons learned, like hidden pathways to inner strength waiting to be uncovered. When hardships come, whether a broken relationship, lost job, or inner conflict, they push us into uncomfortable spaces. At first, it's only pain, confusion, and doubt. But if we pause and reflect, we discover that these moments aren't just destructive, they're catalysts. They force us to confront parts of ourselves we might prefer to ignore. Over time, the sorrow becomes a mirror, revealing what we didn't see before: fears, hopes, flaws, and resilience. These wounds can become the foundation of a new understanding, if we allow ourselves to recognize their purpose. One of the most powerful realizations is that suffering often unlocks our true nature. It strips away the superficial layers built from comfort and distraction. Through these experiences, we are gradually initiated into a deeper wisdom, an understanding that life is rarely smooth, and that our strength comes from how we handle the jagged edges. Taking that rough stone and shaping it into a gem isn't quick or easy. It demands patience, honesty, and a willingness to face what hurts. When we learn to see our suffering not as punishment but as a silent teacher, it transforms into a stepping stone toward wholeness. As we reflect on moments that felt like the end of something, it's helpful to see them as beginnings disguised in pain. Each deep wound holds the seed of later growth, like a scar that reminds us we've survived and evolved. Sometimes, the darkness that surrounds us in those times is necessary. It pushes us to look inward and find things we never knew existed inside us. These old wounds, once acknowledged, become silent guides guiding us through the maze of our inner world. We start to recognize that what once hurt us most now holds the keys to our quiet resilience and capacity for compassion. Recognizing that pain is a form of initiation can change how we relate to life's inevitable hardships. It redefines suffering from being something to avoid at all costs into a doorway to deeper understanding. When we stop resisting the natural ebb and flow of discomfort, we learn to sit with it, learn from it, and move forward stronger. It's as if life is offering us a series of keys, each key made from experiences that challenged us the most. These keys open doors to parts of ourselves we may never have discovered without the rough edges of adversity. In these moments, it's helpful to remember that transformation often requires surrender. Accepting pain as part of the process allows us to stop fighting it and instead work with it. This shift from resisting to embracing our suffering helps reveal its purpose, to refine, teach, and prepare us for something greater. The uncomfortable truth is that hardship can leave behind scars, but those scars aren't marks of defeat, they're badges of survival. Each one holds a story of how we endured, adapted, and ultimately grew in ways we never expected. One practical step is to write down your painful experiences and explore what they've taught you. Notice how each hardship has changed you, even if subtly at first. Sometimes, simply seeing your own resilience written on paper helps turn pain into a new perspective. It reminds you that, underneath the suffering, there's a core of strength waiting to be tapped. Over time, these reflections can serve as a compass, guiding you through future storms by remembering the wisdom forged in past struggles. Every scar, every crack, has contributed to who you are today, a testament to your ability to emerge from hardship with a quiet, lasting grace. 15. The Guardians of Energy. True masters protect their life force. In a realm where forces of nature clashed, there lived a wise guardian of a sacred flame. This flame represented the essence of life, warmth, creativity, and passion. The guardian knew all too well the dangers posed by fierce storms, harsh winds, and dark nights that sought to extinguish their inner fire. With every storm that approached, the guardian built stronger barriers, using stones and earth to protect the flame from the outside chaos. As the winds howled, they stood firm, refusing to let any gust snuff out their illumination. The tale of the guardian reminds us of our own journey in protecting our life force. In a world filled with distractions and negativity, it's essential to create a sanctuary for our energy, similar to how the guardian shields the flame. By nurturing this sacred inner light, we can navigate through life's challenges without losing our essence. Reflecting on our own lives, we often face overwhelming storms. These can be external influences such as negative relationships, toxic environments, or incessant distractions from technology. Like the guardian, we need to recognize what depletes our energy and take measures to fortify ourselves. This requires conscious awareness and a willingness to make choices that favor our vitality. Perhaps it's prioritizing moments of solitude to recharge, or setting boundaries with those who drain us. When we actively protect our inner flame, we not only preserve our own energy but also inspire those around us to do the same. Just as the guardian's steadfastness was a beacon amidst the chaos, our commitment to safeguarding our life force can illuminate paths for others. To become a vigilant steward of our energy, it is critical to evaluate our daily routines and the energy we expend. Simple practices can significantly enhance our awareness. Start by observing how you feel in different environments or around particular people. Do certain spaces drain you while others uplift you? Identifying these dynamics is the first step in consciously selecting where to invest your energy. Reflecting on your daily activities can reveal patterns that either nurture or diminish your vitality. For instance, consider how much time you spend scrolling through social media versus engaging in fulfilling conversations. Those choices directly impact your inner fire. Another essential practice is learning to set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, but rather guides that help us maintain balance and health in our interactions. Communicate your limits clearly, whether it's stating when you need solitude or saying no to commitments that weigh you down. Remember, each time you uphold a boundary, you're honoring your life force. This might feel uncomfortable initially, particularly if you're unaccustomed to prioritizing yourself, but over time, it becomes an empowering habit. Surrounding yourself with supportive and positive influences can further bolster your resolve, allowing your radiant energy to flourish. Incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine also serves as a protective mechanism for your life force. Simple breathing exercises, meditation, or quiet moments of reflection can clear mental clutter and reconnect you with your inner flame. Engaging in these practices fosters a deeper understanding of your energy levels and heightens your ability to respond to external pressures. Just as the guardian tended their flame, we too can cultivate our power through regular engagement with our inner selves. By consciously choosing how to direct our energy, we honor the flame within us and navigate the world more gracefully. As you leave this chapter, take a moment to reflect on the sources of energy in your life. What nourishes your flame, and what threatens to extinguish it? Make a list of small changes you can implement to protect your inner fire. These changes, no matter how minor, can lead to significant shifts in how you experience life, offering a clearer path toward energy preservation and fulfillment. Why leaks of energy equals leaks of power? Imagine a finely crafted vessel holding precious water. At first glance, it looks whole and strong. But tiny cracks seep water slowly, almost invisibly, so you don't notice until the contents begin to run dangerously low. Energy leaks work the same way within us. They are those subtle, quiet moments where vitality drips away unnoticed, chipping away at the foundation of our inner strength. These leaks may look harmless, skipping a moment of rest here, engaging in small negative thoughts there, but over time, they erode the reservoir of power that fuels our presence in the world. Just like light fading through cracks in a window, these energy leaks weaken our natural authority and the force with which we carry ourselves through life. These invisible ripples are more than tiredness or distraction. They strike at the core of who we are. When our energy isn't whole, our sense of authority, that subtle confidence and the magnetic pull that makes people notice and respect us, begins to dim. This isn't about loud charisma or forcefulness, but a quieter, more profound presence. It is the kind of power that feels steady from within, unshaken by chaos around us. Yet, when energy leaks unchecked, this internal wellspring dries up, leaving us feeling fragmented, drained, and less capable of responding to the world as our fullest selves. At the heart of this truth lies a lesson as old as time. Power flows where energy is focused, but if energy escapes in 1,000 hidden ways, power diminishes. Our vitality isn't just physical strength or raw enthusiasm. It is the subtle current that energizes our decisions, sharpens our clarity, and deepens our connection to others. When these currents are weak or diverted, our actions lose impact, our words fall flat, and our presence becomes a whisper instead of a roar. Every unnoticed energy leak represents a tiny betrayal of our true potential, a surrender to fatigue and distraction that steals moments from our day and layers them into a quiet drift toward powerlessness. Energy leaks often arise from familiar sources, but their power to drain us catches many off guard. Stress, overcommitting, unresolved emotions, and even the ceaseless pull of digital noise chip away at our energy without quite showing themselves. Worry can swirl in the background, stealing mental fuel. Conflicts left unspoken create tension that drains emotional reserves like slow poison. Poor sleep or neglecting to nourish the body quietly shrinks the store of vitality we have at our disposal. These leaks don't shout their presence. They creep in through cracks in our daily habits and thoughts, making us feel perpetually tired, scattered, or overwhelmed. Stopping these leaks demands a certain level of awareness and care, almost like tending to a garden where small gaps invite weeds to grow. It requires noticing when your energy dims, those moments your focus fractures or your heart feels heavy without clear cause. Reclaiming power starts by sealing these gaps gently but firmly. This might mean setting firm boundaries to protect time and attention, learning to say no without guilt, or choosing moments of stillness amid rushing days. It might involve facing difficult emotions, giving them space to express rather than allowing their silent weight to press down without release. Even simple acts like turning off notifications, stepping outside for fresh air, or practicing deep breath work stitch up the cracks through which your energy slips away. When these tiny openings are closed, the flow of energy is restored and strengthens one's sense of personal sovereignty. Power is not something to be taken or imposed from outside. It is reclaimed from within by protecting the very essence that sustains it. As energy is gathered back from hidden drains, your presence sharpens and your choices carry more weight. This renewed vitality is the spark that ignites your ability to influence, to connect, and to lead your own life in a way that feels deeply authentic and true. Like a key turning smoothly in an ancient lock, when we seal energy leaks, we open a door to a more powerful self, one standing tall and luminous, even amid life's storms. Watch closely in your day-to-day moments. When the city noise overwhelms your thoughts, or the endless scroll of feeds sweeps away your attention, you are facing energy leaks. These are modern shadows, but they are no less real than the cracks that let water drip from the vessel. Cultivating rituals to pause and redirect focus can be a powerful way to stem these losses. Before you start your day, setting a clear intention like a beacon can anchor your energy, making it less likely to wander through distractions. At night, reflecting quietly on what drained or refilled you can reveal hidden leakers waiting to be sealed. The simplest practice of checking in with yourself, asking where your energy flows and where it slips away, invites a wisdom that feels almost sacred, as if tuning into an ancient current running within you that few know how to follow. Practice energetic boundary visualization. Imagine your energy as a sacred chamber, a space where your inner world exists in peace and clarity. Sometimes, life's noise, whether it's the constant ping of notifications, crowded streets, or the emotional turbulence of others, can seep into that space, disturbing your calm. Visualization becomes a simple yet powerful tool to protect this inner sanctum. By imagining an invisible boundary around yourself, you create a clear barrier that keeps external energies from overwhelming or draining you. Think of it as drawing an unbreakable line that only lets in what is truly yours to experience and filters out the rest, helping you stay centered amid chaos. This act of consciously creating boundaries through visualization can be surprisingly straightforward. It's not about building a wall out of bricks, but rather about imagining a luminous, flexible shield, something that resonates with your sense of self. As you practice, you'll find that your awareness naturally begins to recognize when your boundaries are being challenged, and your mind can reinforce that protective barrier. Visualizing boundaries isn't just a mental exercise. It's a shift in how you relate to your energy field, turning mere awareness into a form of mindful self-preservation. It's like tuning into a quiet, ancient secret that reminds you of your power to guard your well-being while staying open to life's beauty. To start, find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Picture yourself surrounded by a gentle glow or a shimmering light, whatever feels calming and real to you. See this glow as your boundary, a glowing shell that encases your entire being. Visualize this light as flexible but resilient, able to expand or contract as needed. With each breath, imagine this boundary growing stronger and brighter, better able to ward off unwanted energies. You might picture specific scenarios, such as a crowded subway, a heated argument, or a stressful workday, and visualize this protective aura shielding you, allowing only positive or neutral energies to pass through. Practice this regularly, and you'll reinforce your capacity to maintain energetic boundaries no matter the external situation. 16. The Law of Service. Higher wisdom always points outward, not just inward. Imagine a candle flickering in a darkened room. The light it casts dances on the walls, reaching out to illuminate everything around it. Just as that light extends beyond the candle's flame, true wisdom shines outward, touching the lives of others and the world beyond oneself. Higher understanding is not a treasure to be hoarded, but rather a gift to be shared. When we cultivate our inner wisdom, it naturally seeks expression in acts of service, a gentle reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Every thoughtful gesture, each moment of kindness, reveals the depth of our understanding. This outward movement transforms not only our lives but also the lives of those around us. Consider the influence of simple acts. Holding the door open for a stranger, sharing a warm smile, or volunteering time to help those in need are small yet profound ways to project our understanding outwardly. These gestures may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of life, but they ripple through the world, inspiring others to pay it forward. When we perform acts of service, we align our inner wisdom with our actions, forging connections that transcend our individual experiences. Inner enlightenment blossoms into external impact, planting seeds of kindness that can thrive in unexpected places. This connection to others amplifies the lessons we've learned within ourselves, creating a cycle of growth that benefits everyone. Service acts as a bridge, linking our personal growth to the wider world. Just as a river flows, drawing from its source before nourishing entire valleys and forests, our understanding nurtures those around us as we extend it outward. The more we cultivate our insights and inner mastery, the stronger our desire to share them becomes. This is not about seeking validation or recognition, but rather about fulfilling an intrinsic calling to make a difference. Each moment we dedicate to serving others serves as a reflection of our own enlightenment, demonstrating that what we learn goes hand in hand with our commitment to the welfare of the world. This outward focus invites us to engage with the community, confront social injustices, and embrace empathy. When we step out of our internal dialogue and look around, we can witness the struggles, triumphs, and humanity residing in those we share this world with. Each individual has a story, and through our acts of service, we contribute to the narrative that connects us all. By turning our attention outward, we discover opportunities to impact change, ensuring that our wisdom doesn't wither away within the confines of our minds but flourishes and resonates in the lives of others. It's here that we find profound meanings, unexpected lessons, and a deeper sense of purpose. As you navigate your own path, consider integrating service into your daily life. Reflect on ways you can blend your inner wisdom with tangible actions that uplift others. This could be through simple kindness or active involvement in community projects. By embracing this journey, you nurture not only your growth but also the growth of those around you, fostering a web of compassion and connectedness. Why service is the sign of a true initiate. Picture a smooth river carving its way through solid rock over centuries, not by force, but by steady, patient persistence. This quiet power shapes the landscape without demanding attention. In much the same way, a true initiate, the one who has stepped beyond mere knowledge into deeper understanding, reveals their presence not through grand gestures, but through humble acts of service. Service is like that steady river. It flows naturally from someone who has let go of ego's demands and opened themselves to a greater purpose. The initiate's identity is no longer tied to self-promotion or personal gain. Instead, they become vessels for something larger than themselves, quietly supporting others and enriching the world around them. This kind of service springs from a depth of character rarely visible on the surface. When an initiate helps without expectation, it reveals their connection to a timeless truth, that giving without strings is a path to inner freedom. Simply put, when ego steps aside, service becomes an expression of the soul's true nature. This makes service not just a kind act, but a sign that the initiate has crossed an invisible threshold where humility meets purpose. They are no longer serving to receive recognition, but because service itself aligns with their very being. When this happens, something shifts inside. It's as if an old key has turned in a hidden lock, opening a doorway to genuine selflessness and meaning. True service is never about grandiosity, proclamations, or climbing social ladders. It is found in the quiet support offered without fanfare, the neighbor helping with groceries, the mentor who listens without judgment, the stranger who offers a smile when none was asked. These moments, though small, mark the true initiate's path more clearly than any proclamation or display of knowledge. It is in these acts that we see someone who has understood a vital lesson, that the value of knowledge is measured by how it touches and improves other lives. In this way, service becomes a mirror revealing the initiate's depth and the sincerity of their journey. Service can be seen as the bridge that transforms raw knowledge into living wisdom. Anyone can gather facts, read ancient texts, or memorize sacred principles, but without service, that knowledge remains static, like letters carved in stone, beautiful but lifeless. The initiate uses what they have learned not to feed their own ego but to nurture others. This reflects a profound shift where knowledge is no longer kept as a possession but shared freely, becoming a living force that connects people. By serving, the initiate turns abstract ideas into practical actions, weaving wisdom into everyday life. This daily practice of giving without calculation dissolves the boundary between self and other, revealing a deeper unity that words alone cannot express. To cultivate this selfless giving, daily habits rooted in sincerity are essential. The initiate might begin with small, consistent actions, listening fully when someone speaks, offering help without waiting for a plea, or simply being present in moments of need. These simple practices create a rhythm that gradually softens the heart and expands one's capacity to serve without losing oneself. This is more than generosity. It is a way of living where service becomes automatic, a natural outflow of an inner shift. The routine of giving without expectation rewires the mind away from scarcity and towards abundance, both in terms of spirit and connection to others. Over time, this commitment to service changes how the initiate sees the world. No longer divided by us and them, the initiate begins to sense the invisible threads that bind all beings. Every act of service becomes a quiet acknowledgement of this shared existence. This perspective allows wisdom to deepen, not as something distant or reserved for elites, but as a daily conversation between self, others, and the greater whole. The initiate's path moves from theory to embodied experience, where inner transformation is mirrored in outward deeds. Each moment becomes an opportunity to honor the sacred by offering something without expectation or judgment, and in doing so, touches the ancient secret that true power lies in giving. Try this simple exercise to bring service into your daily life. At the start of each day, set a quiet intention to notice opportunities to help or be kind, no matter how small. This might be holding a door, sharing a genuine compliment, or simply giving your full attention to someone. At the end of the day, reflect on these moments without judgment or expectation. Just observe what arose and how it felt. Over time, this practice shifts your awareness and gently guides you toward living as a true initiate would, where service flows naturally and reveals deeper layers of yourself. Exercise. One conscious act of service daily. Imagine walking through a busy city street, headphones in, scrolling through your phone, lost in your own world. Amidst the rush, a small gesture slips by unnoticed, someone struggling with a heavy bag, and you pause for a moment to help. Maybe you hold the door open for the person behind you, or offer a kind word to a stranger having a rough day. That quiet act, simple as it seems, can ripple outward, touching lives in ways you might never fully see. Sometimes, it's these tiny, conscious acts of service that have the power to transform both the giver and the receiver, creating a small spark of connection that lingers long after. It feels like unlocking a door to an ancient secret, that within the simplest moments lies a profound way to shape our world. Encouraging yourself to choose one act of service each day can turn this secret into a practice. It doesn't have to be grand or complicated. It might mean smiling genuinely at someone, offering a listening ear, or picking up litter in your neighborhood. The key is to do it with awareness, paying full attention to the act and the person on the receiving end. Over time, these acts become more than chores. They grow into rituals that deepen your sense of connection and bring a quiet sense of fulfillment. When you begin to notice how these small kindnesses ripple outward, you start to see how ancient wisdom echoes in modern life, that true strength often shows up in these subtle moments of giving. This daily practice isn't just about helping others. It's about practicing presence, being fully aware of what is happening in each moment and choosing to act with intention. Even a tiny act, like holding a door, can serve as a reminder that our everyday actions hold hidden power. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to look for ways to serve, turning kindness into a habit rather than a rare gesture. Over time, your daily acts of service will become a silent, ongoing dialogue with life itself, an act of trust that the small things carry immense weight. Like planting seeds in a garden, these simple acts tend to grow into something larger, an ancient truth that the light we give in small doses helps illuminate the path for others and ourselves. To make this a tangible part of your day, set a simple intention each morning. Today, I will do one act of kindness. It could be to send a supportive message, help someone carry a load, or simply listen without distraction. As you move through your day, remain attentive to moments when you can serve in small ways. Remember, these acts are not about perfection or impressing others. They are about genuine presence and choosing to serve with humility. Keep track of each act in your mind, noticing how it influences your mood and how others respond. Over time, this habit can shift your outlook, from focusing on your own world to actively creating ripples of kindness that reverberate beyond what you see. After all, the secret lies in understanding that every day offers an opportunity for service, like a key waiting to unlock doors you never knew existed. These acts are small but profound, guiding you toward a life rooted in awareness and connection. The more you practice, the more you realize that service isn't just what you do. It's a way of seeing the world, through eyes that seek opportunities to give light. Find ways to keep this simple practice alive. Maybe set a reminder on your phone, or leave a note to yourself, serve today. Over time, this conscious act can become a natural rhythm, one that carries you closer to that quiet wisdom, that in giving, you are also receiving. 17. The alchemy of everyday life. Making every act, cooking, walking, working, sacred. When you consider the everyday tasks that fill your life, such as cooking, walking, or working, it becomes clear that each act holds the potential for something much deeper. Think of a time when you were fully present while preparing a meal, feeling the textures of the ingredients as you chopped and stirred. With every slice and sizzle, your mind quieted, and your worries momentarily slipped away. This act of cooking became more than just routine. It transformed into a sacred ritual. When performed with intention, even the simplest tasks can awaken a sense of connection to the world around you. Walking offers a similar odyssey. Picture yourself out for a stroll. With every step you take, your senses engage with the environment. The rhythm of your feet aligning with your heartbeat can create a natural rhythm, one where the chaos of your thoughts begins to dissolve. This is a gateway to mindfulness, where the simple act of moving through space becomes an act of honoring your body and the ground beneath you. That awareness can be a reminder that every forward motion is a sacred interaction with the world as it unfolds before you. In the workplace, this notion of sacredness can be woven into what may seem like mundane tasks. Each email sent, each conversation held, carries a weight, an energy that can bring meaning to what might be viewed as tedious. Treating your workspace as not just an office but a sacred space for creativity and contribution can shift your approach. Now, you're not just working, you're part of a larger narrative where your contributions echo in the lives of others. Viewing work through this lens nurtures a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. To infuse sacredness into your daily activities, consider starting with simple mindfulness practices. Before you cook, take a moment to breathe deeply. Set an intention for your meal, perhaps dedicating it to health or happiness. As you stir the pot, visualize the nourishment you are creating not just for the body, but for the spirit. This mindfulness of purpose activates an awareness that transcends the act of cooking, turning it into a choreography of body, mind, and heart. Incorporate rituals into your walks, like saying thank you to nature for each step you take. Acknowledging the beauty around you as you walk can transform the experience from a mere exercise into a communion with nature. Feel your body move, the air fill your lungs, and give gratitude for the ability to engage with your surroundings. This can ground you in the moment and embed a sense of reverence in the act of movement. Taking these small steps can reshape how you view the ordinary, unveiling the extraordinary in every moment. Embrace the journey of transforming the mundane into moments of mastery and awakening. Remember, every act you take can be a ritual in the grand tapestry of your life. Adjust your mindset, and you may notice a profound shift in both your experience and the world around you. Focus on what resonates within you. Let that guide your actions. Example: turning traffic into meditation. Imagine a river coursing through a dense city, full of honking cars, flashing lights, and stress. This river is the traffic around you, relentless, noisy, and often overwhelming. Your mind drifts, caught in its swift currents, pushed and pulled by irritation and impatience. Yet beneath the chaos, there is a stillness waiting. Just as a river can hide quiet pools beneath its surface, the frenzy of rush hour holds the possibility of silent calm. What if, instead of fighting the noise, you become the observer who flows with the current without being swept away? This is the place where traffic ceases to be a trap and becomes a doorway to awareness. Your usual reaction might be to slam the horn, glance anxiously at your watch, or grumble at the endless red lights. But what if those stoplights, the honks from other cars, and the crowded streets are not obstacles, but invitations? They invite you to pause, to breathe, to witness the moment without judgment. When you shift your view, urban clamor transforms into a rhythm, a heartbeat echoing the inner tempo of your breath. The city's pulse becomes your mirror, reflecting back not frustration but calm focus. The external rush becomes a silent chant that draws your attention inward, where peace has always waited. You don't need a special time or place to practice this. As you sit behind the wheel, notice how your breath moves naturally, deep or shallow, fast or slow, without trying to change it. Feel the seat beneath you, the wheel firm in your hands, the gentle hum of the engine. Each stop at a light becomes a moment to simply be. Watch the world without needing to control it. Let your thoughts arrive and pass like clouds. Gradually, the noise outside becomes less of a disturbance and more of a background melody to your quiet center. This is your meditation in motion, turning the city's chaos into a sanctuary of stillness that lives within you at all times. Try this the next time you face a jam or stand waiting in line. Instead of reaching for your phone or allowing impatience to rise, bring your attention to what's happening right now. Notice the sensations in your body, the rhythm of your heart, the rise and fall of your breath. Let the external sounds become markers guiding you deeper into presence rather than triggers for annoyance. With every pause forced by the traffic, practice returning to yourself, the watcher beyond the noise. Over time, this simple shift will open hidden doors in your mind and allow you to reclaim moments scattered throughout your day, transforming something once draining into a source of calm and clarity. Exercise. Choose one ordinary moment and initiate it. Imagine a moment in your day when everything seems to slow down, perhaps when you're standing in line at the grocery store or waiting for your coffee to brew. These small pauses often go unnoticed, blending into the background of our busy routines. But what if, instead of letting these moments slip by, you saw them as tiny gateways to something deeper, an ancient ritual waiting to be awakened? Each of these ordinary moments holds a quiet potential, like a locked door that, once opened, reveals a space of presence and calm. Recognizing this transforms daily life from mere activity into an act of quiet initiation, where each small pause becomes a step toward greater awareness. To do this, take a moment and choose one routine instance, perhaps when you're sitting quietly before leaving the house or even while scrolling through your phone. Commit to approaching this moment not as just another blur in your day but as a sacred space. Approach it knowing that within the mundane lies a hidden power, an opportunity to connect with your sense of self, to ground your attention in the now. When you see it this way, even the simplest act, like picking up a pen or pouring a glass of water, becomes a chance for intentionality. These small, seemingly insignificant acts are like keys hiding in plain sight, waiting for your awareness to turn them gently and unlock deeper presence. As you select an ordinary moment, pay close attention to your surroundings. Notice the small details that often go unnoticed, the light filtering through a window, the gentle hum of background noise, the texture of the object in your hand. Observe your thoughts drifting in and out, feelings flitting across your mind like clouds in the sky. Stay present with what is happening in this moment, no matter how trivial it may seem. When you slow down and look closely, you begin to sense that these moments are not empty, they are filled with subtle, quiet lessons. Every breath, every small movement can become a quiet ritual of initiation, helping you connect with your deeper self and the timeless rhythm beneath daily life. 18. The joy of mastery. Enlightenment isn't solemn, it's radiant joy. Imagine standing before a great sunrise, the way light slowly spills across the landscape, driving away shadows and unveiling vibrant colors. This is what enlightenment can feel like, not a heavy burden but a joyous awakening. When we master our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we move beyond the seriousness often associated with personal growth and find pure joy. It's akin to shedding layers of fog that obscure our view of life's beauty. Each moment of mastery brings clarity and understanding, illuminating paths once hidden. We become like the blossoming flowers that greet the morning sun, ready to embrace the warmth of existence. True mastery involves not just the achievement but the experiences that come along the way. The secret is in recognizing that the journey itself is a celebration. Every step, whether perceived as a success or a setback, contributes to our growth. It is this mindset shift that turns solemn introspection into gratitude and joy. We begin to laugh at our mishaps, seeing them as necessary chapters in our unique stories. This insight reflects a deeper understanding of life, one that encourages us to savor experiences rather than simply tally them up. In this light, enlightenment becomes less about striving for some unattainable ideal and more about celebrating everyday truths. Every moment holds the potential for joy if we allow ourselves to see it. Living mindfully, truly being present, can alter our perception of our surroundings. Instead of rushing through life, we can pause and appreciate the little things. The scent of fresh coffee in the morning, the sound of laughter among friends, or the warmth of sunlight on our skin. These details can shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. By treating each moment as sacred, we learn to hold these experiences gently in our hearts, nurturing a deep reservoir of joy that is readily available, even in challenging times. Mastery can also be viewed as an evolving journey rather than a fixed point. Each day presents a new opportunity to learn, grow, and celebrate who we are. Rather than waiting for a finish line that may never appear, we can honor the ongoing process of becoming. Take time to reflect on your daily experiences. What triggered a sense of joy today? What lesson arose from a challenge? This daily practice encourages a mindset grounded in gratitude and awareness. By actively engaging with our lives, we cultivate an attitude of joyous mastery, one that resonates strongly and keeps our spirits lifted. Keep these ideas alive in your daily routine. Set small intentions each morning, whether it's to notice 3 things you're grateful for or to spend a few moments appreciating the beauty around you. Allow these moments of awareness to fill you with joy and light, illuminating your path forward like a radiant dawn breaking through the fog. Why play and laughter are higher states of wisdom. Imagine a child laughing freely in a sunlit meadow, utterly lost in a game that bends the rules of reality. That laughter is not just a simple reaction, it is a doorway. In moments of play and laughter, we slip beyond the usual crunching logic of the mind and enter a space where deeper understanding breathes. This is a kind of wisdom that doesn't come from books or lectures but from the spontaneous, joyful experience of life itself. When we play, we aren't just passing time. We're tapping into a hidden current that connects thought, emotion, and intuition in ways that pure reason never could. Play opens the mind to flexibility. It is a time when the tight grip of what must be softens, allowing us to see possibilities we otherwise overlook. Laughter, meanwhile, acts like a gentle spark that disarms the ego and invites humility. In laughter, the walls between people fall, and the moment becomes bigger than ourselves. Ancient traditions revered laughter and play as sacred acts because they recognized something modern life often forgets. True wisdom is not rigid knowledge, but an ability to respond to life's chaos with lightness and openness. The laughter of a sage, much like a child's, carries the secret that beneath all seriousness lies a rhythm of freedom. Stepping into play is like stepping through an unseen threshold, where the usual demands of status, concern, or control evaporate. Here, creative impulses flourish and new insights emerge without forcing. This is wisdom in its rawest form, not wrapped in solemnity, but alive, fluid, and transformative. We learn more about ourselves and the world when we allow space for spontaneity and joy. Just as a heavy door swings open to reveal a vast garden, laughter and play open the heart and mind to a fuller view, one that includes both light and shadow, risk and safety. Bringing play and laughter into the daily rhythm of life can serve as a kind of gentle initiation into this higher wisdom. It doesn't demand making time for serious self-improvement but invites small shifts in how we approach daily moments. Imagine turning routine interactions into playful experiments, adding curiosity, humor, or unexpected twists. This might be a spontaneous joke in a stressful meeting, dancing alone to a favorite song, or turning a chore into a light-hearted challenge. These moments remind us that life's weight can be lifted, even briefly, and in that lift we rediscover clarity and ease. When life's pressures build, laughter acts as a release valve, preventing burnout and creating space for fresh ideas. The body responds to laughter with subtle shifts, breath deepens, muscles relax, and the mind opens. Within this state, insights come unbidden, not shaped by effort but welcomed like an old friend. Play similarly dissolves the barriers between what is and what could be, allowing imagination and problem-solving to rise naturally. This is why great thinkers and artists often speak of breakthroughs happening in moments of play or lightheartedness rather than forced concentration. Wisdom breathes in this balance between surrender and focus. Practical ways to weave play and laughter into life begin with noticing where rigidity has settled in. Invite lightness into your day by intentionally breaking patterns, even slightly. Start by observing tasks or relationships where tension or seriousness dominates, then imagine ways to introduce humor or creativity. Sometimes it's about changing the tone we bring to conversations, other times it's about making space for playful movement or light-hearted competition. These shifts act like keys unlocking closed rooms within ourselves, allowing a more flexible and joyful perspective to emerge. One can turn daily rituals into gentle playgrounds of choice. For example, during a walk, make a game of spotting unusual shapes in clouds or shadows, or experiment with telling a tall tale based on something observed. During meals, experiment with tasting mindfully but with a playful attitude. Notice textures and flavors while imagining fantastical scenarios involving each dish. Bringing laughter and play into these ordinary moments rewires the nervous system, reminding us that wisdom isn't always tied to solemnity but thrives in lightness too. Try creating small pockets of laughter throughout your day by recalling moments that once made you laugh or by sharing funny anecdotes with others. Notice how these moments influence your outlook and your ability to approach challenges with fresh eyes. Play and laughter are not just escapes, they are invitations to inhabit life more fully and wisely. The ancient secret whispered through all cultures is this: those who master the art of lightness walk the world with deeper sight. As you move forward, ask yourself, where in your day might a touch of play or laughter shift the atmosphere? Even a small smile during a difficult moment can open a crack in the wall between stress and ease. In that crack, wisdom waits quietly, ready to step through when given the chance. Reflection: where joy is your best teacher. Imagine walking along a narrow, winding path through an ancient forest. The sunlight filters softly through the leaves, creating patterns on the ground. You notice that when you step carefully, focused on each footfall, the forest seems distant, almost like a background hum. But when you pause, breathe deeply, and find delight in simply being there, the world opens up. Joy becomes the guiding light, making the journey feel less like a task and more like a sacred experience. It's through this feeling, this gentle pull of happiness, that we begin to see mastery not as a destination, but as a way of being rooted in genuine engagement. When you truly enjoy what you do, the effort no longer feels heavy. Instead, it transforms into a dance, an act of reverence for the process itself. This same principle applies beyond the forest or a quiet moment alone. In everyday life, happiness isn't something we chase or force. It's something we notice whenever we're connected to what truly resonates with us. Often, we get caught up in routines that drain energy rather than renew it. When we shift our perspective to see joy as a teacher, the path becomes clearer. It reveals lessons in patience, perseverance, kindness, and curiosity without demanding effort or strain. Joy, in this sense, is not a fleeting emotion but a steady voice whispering what matters most. The more we listen to it, the more we recognize that mastery is simply an act of loving what we do enough to immerse ourselves fully, with heart and curiosity intact. In healing ancient traditions, symbols of light often mark the entrances to hidden chambers, gateways to sacred truths. These symbols remind us that joy shines from within, lighting the way through challenges and uncertainties. When we approach our pursuits with a sense of delight, we start to see each mistake as a stepping stone, each success as a celebration of progress, not an endpoint. The effort then becomes a form of devotion, a way of honoring ourselves and our growth. Joy becomes a kind of sacred partner, guiding us back when we stray and whispering encouragement when doubts set in. It's in this quiet and persistent presence that mastery reveals itself, not as a perfect outcome but as a genuine way of walking through life with an open heart. To cultivate this sense of joy as your best teacher, begin by paying close attention to what makes you feel alive. Notice when times pass quickly and when tasks feel drudgery. Find small ways to bring delight into daily routines, perhaps through playful experimentation, gratitude, or simply pausing to savor a moment. When mistakes happen, treat them with curiosity instead of judgment, seeing them as opportunities to learn rather than failures. By fostering a gentle, joyful attitude, you naturally turn your experiences into deeper lessons. It's about creating a space where happiness isn't just an outcome but a guiding current, one that transforms even the most ordinary moments into portals of insight and growth. Remember, your capacity for joy is like a quiet flame that can be nurtured daily. A simple practice could be to end each day by reflecting on moments that brought a smile or a sense of peace. Over time, this habit plants seeds of positivity that ripple through every part of your life. When you approach your passions or daily tasks with this mindset, mastery begins to feel less like a strenuous effort and more like an ongoing dance of discovery. Joy is not the reward after hard work, it is the very essence of meaningful work itself. Let your heart be your compass, and you will find that each step forward is an act of love, an act of mastery guided by the gentle wisdom of your own happiness. 19. Becoming the flame. The initiate doesn't hold knowledge, they become it. The journey from knowing something to truly embodying it can feel like crossing a vast chasm. Consider the difference between holding a key that unlocks a door and actually walking through that door into a new space. Knowledge, in its essence, can be a collection of facts or information gathered over time. It can be found in books, lectures, or conversations. However, to become knowledge is to allow that information to seep into your very being. It transforms you, shaping your thoughts, actions, and interactions with the world around you. This blending of knowing and being isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's a shift in identity. This understanding leads to a realization: Knowing facts about compassion or creativity doesn't make you compassionate or creative. True mastery requires that essence of those qualities to become part of who you are. When one embodies knowledge, it flows effortlessly into everything they do. For example, consider someone who has studied various philosophies about happiness. They may offer wise advice and articulate insights, but only when they integrate these teachings into their life do they truly manifest happiness. The shift is profound. It moves from surface-level understanding to a deeply lived experience. Think of a candle's flame. It doesn't just light up the space around it because it knows it's a flame. It radiates light simply by being itself. This image perfectly illustrates the journey of merging understanding with action. When someone becomes the flame, they no longer just have knowledge about, say, love or ambition. They live it, radiating those qualities naturally. This process often begins with introspection, where individuals explore their own beliefs and values. As they peel back layers of preconceived notions, they start to ignite their inner flame. One practical approach to begin this transformation is through daily journaling. Engage with guiding questions like, how am I living my values today? Or in what ways can I embody the knowledge I seek to integrate? This simple practice can help cultivate self-awareness and prompt necessary changes, leading to a life where knowledge becomes an intrinsic part of who you are. Living as light in a noisy, chaotic world. The world around us hums relentlessly, notifications ping, voices rise, traffic roars, and screens flicker with endless streams of information. Yet this outer chaos often mirrors an inner turmoil, a restless noise that simmers beneath our thoughts and feelings. Like trying to hear a single bell chime in a storm, the light within us struggles to shine through when every direction demands attention. This confusion isn't just a modern problem. Humans have faced moments when the world's clamor drowned out the quieter truths. The challenge lies in recognizing that the chaos surrounding us is a reflection of the turbulence within, and the first step toward living as light is to acknowledge this balance of noise inside and outside. When the mind races with distraction, it becomes difficult to distinguish real needs from fleeting urges. The endless scroll of images and updates can fragment our attention, creating a flickering light, bright but unstable. This flicker invites restlessness and makes it easy to lose sight of what's steady and true. Ancient wisdom often speaks of light as something steady and unwavering, something that moves beyond appearances to touch the core of being. The world's noise pulls us toward shadows, but within us lies the key to a different kind of illumination, one that remains calm and clear even amidst distraction. To live as light means to cultivate an inner flame that doesn't falter when winds of distraction blow hard. This flame shines quietly but powerfully, challenging the distractions that try to dim it. The noise might never completely disappear, but what matters is learning to hold space for presence, to find calm in the midst of chaos. This is not about shutting the world out, but about sharpening perception so that the noise becomes background rather than ruler. It is like tuning an old radio, adjusting the dial until the static fades, revealing a clear, steady signal underneath. Cultivating this inner light begins with grounding yourself. When moments feel overwhelming, connect to the steady rhythm of your breath, or feel the weight of your body against the earth. These simple touch points anchor us when external distractions threaten to pull us away. As presence settles in, it sharpens the lens through which we view the world. Instead of reacting automatically to every alert and impulse, we start choosing carefully where to direct our attention. This act of choosing is the glow that outshines flickering shadows, the distractions that come and go like passing clouds. Imagine your awareness as a lantern carried through a dark forest. The world outside may be wild and noisy, but the light you carry can steady your path. When you become practiced at returning to this inner glow, distractions lose their power to drain your energy or scatter your thoughts. You begin to notice the difference between urgency and importance, between fleeting noise and lasting truth. This steady glow helps you meet life's complexities without losing your inner calm or your sense of clarity. One way to sharpen this light is to build moments of silence and stillness into daily life. These pauses act like breathing spaces for the soul. When technology and noise crowd our hours, making room for even a few minutes of quiet can feel like unlocking a secret door to a sacred room inside. In this space, attention is whole and unbroken, allowing the light within to strengthen. Over time, these moments accumulate, weaving a pattern of presence that resists the pull of chaos. Try a simple practice. Pause for 3 full breaths whenever you feel overwhelmed by noise or distraction. Let your focus drop away from the outside world and rest entirely on the sensation of breathing. Notice how this small act can create a bubble of calm, a glimpse of that steady inner light amidst the storm. Carry this awareness forward, gently guiding yourself back whenever the external clamoring grows too loud. Exercise your flame statement, who you choose to be. At the core of who you are is a quiet, guiding voice that often gets drowned out by the noise of daily life. Think of this as a piece of inner fire, a light that burns quietly but steadily, illuminating your true path. To tap into it, spend a moment in silence, asking yourself what truly matters most to you. What do you want to stand for when everything else is stripped away? This is your chance to get in touch with that core essence, to listen beyond the chatter of your mind and discover the honest truth of your deepest intentions. Imagine a sacred space, like walking into an ancient temple, calm, still, filled with echoes of wisdom. Within that space, speak from your heart. Craft a simple declaration, a statement that reflects who you truly wish to become and how you want to show up in the world. It might be as straightforward as, "I am committed to kindness and curiosity," or "I choose to lead with integrity and compassion." Whatever words resonate most deeply, they should feel like a personal beacon, a steady reminder of your highest hopes and your strongest commitments. Writing this down anchors it, making it easier for you to carry it out in your everyday life. This declaration doesn't need to be perfect or grand, it's meant to be authentic. It serves as a guiding star, a touchstone to return to anytime the chaos of life tries to pull you off course. When your actions align with this core statement, you begin building a sense of steadiness and purpose that no external circumstances can easily shake. Remember, this is not a fixed rule but a living, breathing expression of who you are becoming. Keep it close, revisit it often, and let it grow as you evolve. Once you have your core intentions clear, the next step is to shape them into a flame statement, a small, potent phrase that captures the energy of your future self. Think of your words as the sparks that ignite your inner fire. This statement should resonate deeply, something that makes you feel alive and energized every time you read it. Use strong, vivid words like courage, wisdom, kindness, boldness, or clarity, whichever qualities you want to nurture. Your flame statement acts as a compass. It influences your choices, actions, and how you see your role in the world. For example, if your intention is to grow as a compassionate leader, your flame statement might be, "I lead with heart and inspire others to flourish." If you want to embrace creativity, it could be, "I express authenticity and spark new ideas." The key is to pick words that feel authentic, words that stir something inside. It's not about perfect grammar or poetic flair, but about capturing the essence of who you're becoming. Once you have it, place your flame statement somewhere visible, on your mirror, as a screensaver, or in a journal, so that it can act as a daily reminder of your higher purpose. Remember, this statement isn't set in stone. Over time, as you grow and change, your words might shift or deepen. Allow your flame to evolve naturally. The process is about forging an ongoing relationship with your inner guiding light, using words as a way to shape and strengthen that fire. When you focus on what you want to become and choose words that truly reflect your purpose, you begin to live more intentionally, aligning your actions with your core values and intentions. Starting each day by quietly revisiting your flame statement can serve as a moment of reset, bringing your focus back to your true north. It becomes like a ritual that connects you to your deepest self, guiding every step with clarity and purpose. Over time, this simple practice helps you claim responsibility for your growth, and gradually, your life begins to reflect the powerful intentions you've set. It's a small act that carries the potential to turn your everyday choices into a living expression of your highest self. The secret was never hidden. Knowledge was veiled not to exclude, but to invite the worthy. Imagine standing before a great, ancient door, weathered and adorned with symbols that whisper of secrets and treasures within. This door does not stand as a barrier to keep the unworthy at bay, but as an invitation for those brave enough to seek the hidden knowledge on the other side. Throughout history, many cultures have chosen to conceal their wisdom, presenting it as an enigma that only the worthy could unravel. The idea was not to exclude, but rather to encourage a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Just as a pearl forms through irritation, knowledge often emerges from the discomfort of searching, seeking, and questioning. When knowledge is veiled, It beckons you to approach with curiosity and dedication, igniting a spark that can lead to profound understanding. Understanding this ancient principle offers a fresh perspective on the concept of knowledge. It suggests that wisdom is a treasure trove waiting to be discovered, and the act of seeking is as meaningful as the wisdom itself. When we regard knowledge as an invitation, it changes our approach from passive consumption to active engagement. Learning becomes a quest, a thrilling expedition where every twist and turn challenges us to reflect on our values, beliefs, and motivations. In this light, the obstacles we face on our journey become essential stepping stones, pushing us to develop resilience and adaptability. Imagine holding a dusty old book, filled with unread pages, each one representing a lesson you must learn before the knowledge can unfold. By taking the time to actively seek out these lessons, we equip ourselves with keys to unlock the mysteries that have been veiled. Reflecting on your experiences, journaling your thoughts, or meditating on your instincts are powerful practices that can help unveil your own inner knowledge. These methods create space for clarity and inspire a deeper understanding of your passions and fears. Every effort to unearth these truths supports not only personal empowerment but also fosters a connection to the world around you. Consider the daily practices that connect you to deeper knowledge, such as mindfulness or simply taking time to be still. Embrace the curiosity that arises when you encounter something new or puzzling. Ask questions and seek answers, not just from external sources but also from your own intuition and feelings. The journey towards unveiling wisdom can be just as rewarding as the knowledge itself, transforming both the seeker and the sought. The real 33rd degree isn't a title, it's a state of consciousness. Imagine an ancient temple tucked away, its towering stones worn smooth by time. Within it lies a chamber, not locked by iron or sealed by heavy doors, but accessible only by a subtle key, the key of awareness. This chamber is not found on any map or marked on any scroll. It waits quietly inside each of us, beneath layers of noise and distraction, ready to open when we recognize it. What if the 33rd degree isn't a label bestowed by others, but a secret door to a new way of seeing ourselves and the world? It's a state of consciousness as much as a rank, a subtle shift that reveals what has always been present but unseen. Walking through the modern world, with its endless streams of notifications and distractions, it's easy to miss the quiet opening of that door. The real passage lies not in an ancient symbol or ceremony but in a deep recognition of one's own inner landscape. This is a chamber where light flows softly, illuminating the edges of the mind and heart, offering a clarity that cuts through confusion. The 33rd degree is less about titles or outward achievements and more about a profound inner awakening, a clear, still space where understanding rises naturally. Just as the temple's chamber remains hidden until the right moment calls for revelation, our higher states of consciousness await readiness. They can't be rushed or claimed by force. Instead, through attention and quiet presence, the doorway swings open. The true 33rd degree is a breathing, living experience, not an emblem attached to one's name but a luminous state where wisdom and compassion arise in tandem. When awareness touches this depth, it's like stepping from shadow into sunlight, from noise into stillness, revealing that the journey was within all along. Real elevation does not come from an external source handing down a title or rank. It grows from inside, cultivated carefully through self-awareness and honesty. Awakening to the 33rd degree means crossing a threshold found in your own mind, one that opens up a profound simplicity, the understanding that you have always been illuminated. This illumination is not a sudden burst of brilliance but a steady, quiet knowing that shines beneath the surface of everyday thoughts and worries. Consider how often we look outward for recognition or validation, hoping to be seen and honored by others. The 33rd degree flips that impulse inside out. Instead of seeking confirmation from without, it invites you to recognize your own inner light, not flashy or grand, but steady and true. It is a shifting of perspective that reveals the profound truth that the light was never something to earn or acquire but something to remember and live from. This realization makes previous struggles and achievements pale in comparison to the peace found in simply being aware. Crossing this threshold is not marked by grand displays or sudden transformation. It is felt in small moments, the quiet space between thoughts, the gentle pause before reaction, the sense that beneath all stories there is a calm, unshakable center. When you tune into this place, the idea of the 33rd degree stops feeling like a distant accolade and instead becomes a way of living, a daily unfolding of awareness and presence, where wisdom flows naturally and compassion deepens without effort. This state transforms how you interact with yourself and the world, lighting the path inward with subtle power. One way to sense this threshold is to set aside time each day for stillness, to observe your own mind without judgment. Let the noise settle, notice the spaces between thoughts, and gently bring your attention back when it wanders. In this quiet practice, the hidden chamber begins to appear, and with it, the understanding that the 33rd degree has nothing to prove but everything to quietly reveal. Final invitation, live as one who knows, and your life becomes the initiation. Imagine walking through a crowded city street, headphones in and eyes fixed on your phone. The world around you buzzes with life, yet much of it remains unseen because you're caught up in your own small bubble. Sometimes, the most important truths in life are right there, just beneath the surface, waiting for a shift in how we look at things. Secrets are often nothing more than perceptions hiding in plain sight. Things we think are mysteries are just stories we haven't yet learned to read differently, or truths we've chosen not to see. When we change how we view the world, the hidden doors open, revealing what was always present but overlooked. What we consider mysteries or secrets tend to be illusions rooted in our habits of thought, habits that blind us from the clarity that's already there. Life doesn't safeguard its secrets with locked vaults or secret codes. It simply waits for us to see with different eyes. This can come from a moment of reflection, a shift in attitudes, or a quiet question inside. Is this all there is, or am I missing something? The universe whispers clues in subtle ways, in glimpses during quiet mornings, in coincidences that seem too deliberate to ignore. The trick lies in realizing that what seems hidden or elusive isn't really gone. It's just been waiting for the right perspective to be uncovered. Living with awareness is like carrying a light everywhere you go. Suddenly, ordinary moments take on new meaning. The simple act of listening deeply, noticing your surroundings, and being present turns daily routines into rituals. When you see life as a series of small initiations, each moment becomes an opportunity to learn something about yourself and the world around you. This isn't about grand revelations every day, but about noticing the subtle shift in your perception, seeing beauty where before was dullness, finding lessons in frustration or noise. Your life becomes a path of constant learning, where each experience adds a new layer of understanding. The more aware you are, the more your journey reveals its sacred texture, no matter how mundane it may seem on the surface. This shift in awareness makes every day an initiation. Think of it as a doorway that opens inward, inviting you to see yourself and the world with fresh eyes. When your attention remains steady on your inner experience, your perspective widens, allowing you to notice patterns, connections, and truths you might have missed. This practice transforms your life from a series of random events into a continuous unfolding of lessons and discoveries. The act of awareness itself becomes a sacred act, like tending to a garden where each moment of attention nurtures growth. As you learn to recognize life's invitations for insight, your journey naturally turns into a sacred exploration, a way of living that reveals the depths in the most everyday moments. The secret was never hidden. If there's one thing to remember after these pages, let it be this: the so-called secrets were never locked away in vaults or rituals. They were hidden in plain sight, in vibration, in silence, in duality, in the way you love, breathe, and stumble through your ordinary days. The real 33rd degree is not a title you earn. It's not granted by a lodge, an order, or a certificate. It is a state of being. A consciousness where knowledge is not just understood, it is embodied. You are not meant to collect wisdom like coins. You are meant to become it, to live it, to walk through this noisy, chaotic world as flame, steady, radiant, unshaken. The initiation has already begun. Every breath is a ritual. Every choice is a degree. And when you live as one who knows, the whole world becomes your temple.